Okay, I'm recording. Does that mean you're recording? There's sort of silence there.
I was thinking about the intros lately. I feel like I've really been hijacking them, so I thought I would just, with no forewarning, just give you a blank slate.
just really kind of lay me out there, like panic. I'm like, hi, it's Blink 155. I mostly wanted to talk, we've been pretty focused on Quebec for the last couple episodes.
Yeah, and that's one thing I will say right after that is there has been a formal request to stop talking about that from basically every possible angle. The punks would like us to stop. The members of the actual band may or may not have spoken through third parties asking us to stop. The normies have asked us to stop.
Right.
The casual listener. So unfortunately, like, us being asked to stop doing something makes it very hard to not keep doing it,
of course,
endlessly.
Yeah.
But I think out of respect for I don't really know. I've never had respect for someone before, but I think just out of the general idea of respect,
sort of concept, it's been explained to you, right? Like,
yeah, I think I know what it is.
Yeah. So we're moving west, and I think it's time for us to talk about your home province, your current home province of Alberta, Josiah. So let this be Blink 155, Canada's foremost Blink 182, come Western Canadian political.
Oh my
podcast.
God! Guess what?
What?
While you were just
did you just start recording?
While you just did that, I've tried to empty my trash because I recently turned off all of my computer sound so I could like do little things without being disruptive, and it made my GarageBand crash.
All right, that's fine. I'll just leave in the Skype version of you explaining.
I don't think we really missed anything.
Been run out of Quebec. Essentially, we can never play Pouzza Fest. We're not welcome.
Well, no, that part's in there. It's just there's you'll see. You'll get the waveform. It'll all make sense.
It's going to be very confusing.
What a truly awful podcast we have.
Well, the good thing is we're not doing a song that's going to draw in a lot of casual listeners this week. So I think this is an opportunity for us to really dig into the complicated political machinations of Alberta, Canada. The true reason that everyone comes to this podcast. Josiah, how do you feel to be living under the iron rule of Jason Kenney?
I was really hoping that the NDP would win specifically because of the posts. And sure enough, today is the day after the election, and the posts have just been unbearable. So maybe it's my privilege speaking, but for me, the worst part so far has been the posts.
The posts, yeah. Yeah, if people could just sort of vote correctly to kind of save you and me, I mean me as well. Like for some reason, I follow like way too many people with like the kind of like wheat sheaf in their name, whatever that icon is that signifies that you're like a Western Canadian pinko, you know?
Right.
So
I feel like people.
I'm very invested.
I think everyone should follow more of those people, and don't be a fucking normie, and don't whine, and just like know that voting's only part of it, and just like shut the fuck up, you nerds.
So
pay attention.
Good message, I think. Yeah.
Do activism, you dumbass normies.
So while we're talking about people with some emojis in their name and what those signify to us, we have sort of on Twitter at least had this sort of movement towards people putting the bunny emoji in their name. I mean, essentially just to get followed by the pod account. It's like a way of sort of getting people to signify their devotion to us above all. But it turns out that maybe the bunny emoji is also a white supremacist thing. Have you dug into this at all?
Not really. It's kind of been bubbling for a while, but someone else pointed it out today. I was hoping no one would notice.
Well, you definitely retweeted it, so you weren't. You were.
Oh no, I mean, like I noticed it a few weeks ago, and I was just like,
okay.
I'm just gonna sort of ignore this, like I ignore most problems, and hope that it disappears.
So, for some context for people who listen to this show and are not super active on the Twitter, I don't know where the bunny in the name originated. If it was like,
I think it was one of the SAC guys thought of it,
right?
And then I had said, oh, if you put the bunny in your name, I'll follow you back on Twitter. And that has resulted in having a very cursed Twitter feed. Like, it is very, no offense, I'm not going to name anyone specifically or even say enough that you know that I'm talking about you, but like there is a bad kind of diversity of things being faved in there, and I'm seeing a lot of Johnny Sun when I log into that feed, and it's very upsetting. I really need to hide behind my blue check mark.
Yeah, less about what people themselves are tweeting and more just like, remember that people can see your faves now. The Twitter algorithm is wily.
Yeah.
And
like, I don't care if you want to fave some freaky shit, but don't fave Johnny Sun tweets.
Right.
Good Lord. So anyways, we said if you put the bunny in your name, we'll follow you back. That was like a thing because people are so desperate to be followed back by a brand. And Blink-155 is nothing if not Wendy's or Moon Pie or any of those.
Netflix or whatever. Yeah, just like engaging with you on an authentic level. I also avoided putting it in my bio because I was like, I don't like the emoji name thing. And
you were trying to keep your sort of like verticals, which I think is what we can call each of your sort of areas of your life, separate. I think you didn't want to go full Blink-155 because you were like, I have a newsletter. No, or whatever.
It's more that like I post so rarely that I'm in danger of like my personal feed just being like a shittier version of the Blink-155 feed. Like if I hand over all of my posting to like to the nation, you know, then that's literally all I'll talk about because it's kind of the only thing that it's all I talk about in my real life. Like it's all Ashley ever hears about.
Me too.
Like, it's not.
But yeah, you were hesitant. I think some of my friends were like, that's stupid, and they were hesitant about it. And eventually everyone did. And I think what happened with you was like a moment of extreme earnesty that hits probably, I would say, 3 times a day for you. But one of them was about the pod. And you were like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I love the pod.
Yeah.
And so everyone has the bunny in their name. And I kind of thought that it would have fizzled out by now because this was like 7 years ago or something.
in Twitter years, for sure.
Yeah. But everyone still has it turns out. But now the big bad boy himself, Richard Spencer.
The biggest and baddest boy.
I mean, he's really just a tiny little worm of a man.
I more meant his badness was big. I was not. He's a bad worm.
Dick Spency has the bunny in his name for some reason. So I don't know if he's part of the nation or not. And then that's the other thing is like if someone in the nation was alt-right and decided to show themselves and admit that, then what will we do? That would be a whole other problem that we have to figure out. Because like ostensibly, to use a expensive TV critic word. We're just a Blink-182 podcast. And, like, this is why Blink-182 has always been apolitical as much as possible because they still want the alt-right money, if there was any alt-right Blink-182 fans.
Oh, full on.
What are we supposed to do?
Well, we've never talked about, I'm sure deliberately, right? We've never talked about Blink-1488. But, you know, I think it is worth noting that one of the most popular kind of, like, 8chan type kind of white power parody bands is a Blink, ostensibly a Blink-182 cover band. So, I mean, it's sort of like the Michael Jordan thing, right? Like Republicans buy sneakers too. Like I think Blink knows if you're going to do a Las Vegas residency, that the alt-right also buys tickets to Las Vegas residencies. And you can't go see Celine because like Celine has obviously staked out such a clear political point of view that has shut off the alt-right, but Blink not so much.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know what we'll do if it ever happens, but I guess if you want to take the bunny out of your Twitter name, go for it. I'm not going to unfollow you. I'm stuck with all of you now on this cursed feed.
So I guess, it's important to say, like,
either
if
way,
you decide to
sucks.
distance yourself from the alt-right, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah. But anyways, the final thing I wanted to talk about is we've been talking about sort of, like, in our recent exploration of punk that people have begged us to stop doing, so we will stop doing. But it has been based around region and sort of how important it is to discuss the region that a band is from. You know what I mean? And Blink-182 is obviously famously from Southern California, but a lot of people think there's a difference between West Coast and East Coast punk. And what if Blink-182, say, instead of forming in San Diego, had formed in New York City? I think if they had done that, they'd probably have a song called "Hey, I'm Walking Here." Welcome to Blink-152.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Walking Here by the band Blink-182. This was obviously a song that was really stressing me out. we've talked about this before, and we've done songs that have like a sort of real emotional gravity to them that, finding a way to sort of navigate songs like Pathetic and their impact on the band, on sort of the trajectory of the band, their impact on us personally, it's sort of hard to ensure that you kind of do right. And the weird thing is, although we're talking about Blink for hours and 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 hours, you kind of only get this one shot to talk about these actual individual songs, right? That really sort of mean something. And so this has been one like Pathetic, that's been weighing very, very heavily on me. As an aside, I was like kind of high a couple of nights ago, and I started thinking about like the last episode of this podcast and got really emotional when you talk about the 3 times a day that I get really sincere, like really fucked me up. And so this song has the same effect. So, Hey, I'm Sorry, of course, from the critically lauded, beloved by you and I, California Deluxe
The thing
edition.
is, Sam, I'm just going to stop you right there because I have no fucking clue if you're being ironic or not, to
Right.
be honest.
Yeah.
And that's really the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's very disorienting.
Right. So,
be honest.
I love this song. I'm gonna do. Oh no, it started again. I don't love this song. Just hearing 2 seconds of it was like so traumatizing. This song sucks. I think I listened to it for the second time before starting this podcast. Josiah, how do you feel about "Hey, I'm Sorry" by Blink-182?
Okay, the first thing I want to say is I assume in the intro you've just played the little opening, like, oh.
Yeah.
So terrible. I fucking hate the start of this song is insane. But I think I've even played this on the pod before, but it really reminds me of the Under Oath song, "The Changing of Times," which opens with just
all their songs
this
remind you of
whole
Under
era
Oath?
reminds me of Under Oath. But it doesn't really sound like it. But I just wanted to play this again because it's so funny how this shitty metalcore song opens like a Jars of Clay song.
Oh my god. This is the Under Oath song, or is this the Blink song again?
This is Under Oath, but you can't even tell, right? Listen to this.
Never expected it to arrive so soon. But as the night drifted on, it killed time.
Is this new Under Oath?
This cold to morning is all.
Oh, let's start an Under Oath pod after.
No. So was that new or old Under Oath?
That's old. That's from it's still the first singer. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to talk about bands that have had no, never mind. I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to get in trouble. Anyways, Under Oath has had a huge, massive amount of lineup. They've probably had like 30 members over the years.
What? I'm going to have to ask you offline what you possibly could have intended to say in that moment.
I'm just
that was going to get you in
I'm going
trouble.
to write it to you.
Okay, cool. It's a good thing you didn't say that.
I'm gonna get sued by a fucking crust punk. It's gonna be like the funniest court sketch of all time.
Just like the docket, like just the, Hughes versus Yannicks. Just all of Quebec's Yannicks. That just sounds like Groovy Thursday. That was so bad.
Oh, it's so good. That album's sick. But I don't know. I think the opening of this song is just fucking insane. Like, it's just insane. But I think, like, I'm just going to play it again right now because I have it here.
Again, the Thursday song or this? Oh, God, it's so bad.
Like, you don't need to keep that part in. Like, if anything, the weird piano punk, which I think we recently did a different piano punk song. Did we already do this song by accident?
Maybe,
What's the one we...
Maybe. Yeah, I thought
There was
we had
one that
already
had
done
piano that
the
we
other
talked about
I'm
with-
Sorry song. Like, I thought... Like, I literally recently Googled Blink-155, I'm Sorry.
I did that
because
today.
I was
I did
trying
that
to
today.
figure out if we had done it. But we've done Lemmings.
Yeah, and I thought that we might have done this song, but we did Don't Mean
Imagine
Anything.
if we were doing this for the second time and just had fully blacked out and had no idea.
We easily could. But yeah, you could delete that. Whoa.
It's also like so unnecessarily like complex. The idea of clearly what it sounds like to me is that there's a just like a serviceable pop rock song, and then that intro is the thing that you kind of do when you first get like when you're first sort of exploring any sort of like digital audio workstation where you're like, oh shit, I can mute everything except for like the snare drum and my vocal and it sounds crazy. Like it's just this, it's like like it's sort of syncopated in a way that's not interesting or groovy. It's just sort of like, oh, what's happening here? And then it just settles into this absolute just piece of shit, unnecessary mid-tempo plodder.
But I was gonna say that the actual like piano punk part, for lack of a better term, is passable, I guess. When it comes in, there's like some stupid flourishes on top of like Mark singing and the piano and the clean guitar, and like that's why I feel like I'm repeating myself, because I think I said that it sounded like the Lawrence Arms or something, or what I imagine the Lawrence Arms sounds like when we talked about the last piano song. But again, this to me sounds like that like IT guy punk, what their albums all sound like.
It just it doesn't even sound like, I don't think anyone hearing this in a vacuum would even say that this sounds like pop punk. Like it doesn't even sound like a Boys Like Girls, 2000s, The Main, I don't know, like one of those bands. Like it's just a song that feels like it came from American Pie 7.
To me, it sounds like the IT guy that's wearing a Menzingers hoodie, and you're like, oh, we must be able to talk about something. And then he shows you his favorite band, and you're like, what the fuck? And it sounds like that to me.
I don't think it's necessary for you to slander the Menzingers in this way.
Well,
like, the Menzingers are not IT guy pop punk.
I'm just saying that there's a path that all those bands are on, and the end of that path is this. It's like those things are a gateway drug to this.
Right. So you start listening to the Lawrence Arms and the Menzingers, and you end up with like, hey, you know what the thing is though? So we started our call with me singing this song to you.
Yeah,
because
I know.
our little like pre-recording chat is quite intimate and romantic that way, and more than other songs where I'm not familiar, and then we kind of get into it, and I always say, oh, I already fucking forgot how it sounds. Man, I'm fucking cool. I definitely know how this one sounds, and I think it's maybe I do like this song.
Well,
so early for me to be here emotionally.
That is the problem with these songs, is that there is always a nugget of a chorus that was good. But even if you just look at the length, this is a 4-minute song. Like that is unacceptable.
Honestly, like, are you saying it's too long?
I'm saying it could be at 8 or even 12 minutes.
Shit. Okay, that's good. There's good elements to this song, and so I don't know if are we going to go through this in order, because good fucking God.
I got some shit written down. I don't want to talk about the lyrics yet.
Okay, but all I want to say is like melodically, when Matt Skiba comes in with that kind of pre-chorus part, that to me sounds more than a lot of the Matt Skiba stuff on all of California, deluxe or otherwise, sounds like an Alkaline Trio melody to me. And so it was interesting, and I think we've talked about this before. I watched some interview with Matt Skiba where the question was like, what's the thing you're the most proud of writing? And he said the verses in Bored to Death, which I thought was interesting because those don't sound super Skiba-y to me, but obviously he had a hand in writing them. This verse, I'm like, if you played this differently, and this is the thing that makes me so mad about them continuing to work with Feldy, is there's good stuff here. It's just produced and arranged. Like the chorus itself. The chorus is a good hook. In the most just unnecessarily over the top and uninspired way.
Yeah. Well, okay, first of all, someone out of the blue, I'm not going to give too many details, but someone out of the blue just DM'd me today to start completely shit-talking Feldy and say that they've worked with him before and he's actually a huge asshole.
What?
So that was nice.
Yo, let's do that as exclusive.
We're always hearing about how nice he is, but this dude was like, yeah, I've worked with him and he's a piece of shit. Why do you think Goldfinger's had so many lineup changes over the years?
Yeah.
So,
well, because like obviously, Darren Pfeiffer is like a perfectly normal guy, and that freaky bald dude who was in a band called Black President.
I don't know too much about Goldfinger lore, to be honest.
Well, one of the guys is like, some people are like so fucking bald. One of the guys was like that.
I just always thought that like comparing a dick to either a tube of cookie dough or a pencil with broken lead is like, neither of those things suggest that he's ever seen any dick before.
Right. So do you think neither him nor Mabel have ever seen a dick? Like it's the
both of
full
them are
bags
like-
of sand kind of revelatory moment of that song?
It's like some fucking MacGyver ass prop play.
Yeah, no, it's small pencils, broken lead. Yeah, like what?
It's like very I Love Lamp kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Which part of the dick is the lead? Like I don't.
Okay, so a couple things based on what you just said. I
They're
don't
all
know where
about
this is
dicks.
from, but Mark said somewhere that they had considered putting Hey I'm Sorry on the regular album, but then they thought it occupied the same space as Bored to Death and Left Alone, and they liked
Wow,
those two songs
what?
better. Like, what does that even mean? What fucking level is he on?
I don't know. I bet a lot of this is because none of this feels accidental. Like none of this feels like that sort of just like that the fun spark of creativity is kind of gone from this batch of songs. And so I feel like it's probably just the exact same BPM and the same key or something.
Right. Well, and that is the quote part is him saying occupied the same space. So it does sound like a pie chart from a
Yeah.
corporate meeting where he's like, oh, this sector has been complete.
Yeah, let's table Hey I'm Sorry for another time.
And then elsewhere in his Hi, My Name is Mark podcast, he said, oh, I've realized why my computer's being dumb. I have Photoshop open as well.
Right, so that's why the pod
There's
keeps
the
fucking
fans
up.
going off. Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear the fans.
Wow. That's amazing.
What were you photoshopping?
I was making some DeviantArt. I made a DeviantArt manipulation of Pre-Miles earlier.
Cool.
So yeah, hit up patreon.com/blink155. I feel like we just interrupt ourselves to plug the Patreon at the most inopportune and confusing times.
We're like maybe having an interesting conversation. It's like, it reminds me of something that's on patreon.com/blink155pod.
But yeah, okay, so Mark on his podcast, Hi, My Name is Mark, which I guess we'll have to acknowledge at some point. I'm sure it's fucking terrible, probably.
Does that count as another Blink 182 podcast?
I think it really does. But he had teased this song before they even worked with Feldman, I guess. So like this is a pre-Feldman song.
Oh, but production wise, like that's the thing, and that's why I think the true curse of Feldman is not necessarily in the sort of songwriting, but it's definitely in the arranging and the production. Because
Totally.
so many of these songs, like I feel like the consistent the blueprint for every episode about a California Deluxe song is like us being like, this song's a goddamn pile of shit, and then by the end I'm like, oh, it's good. Everyone makes fun of me, but it's because there are
Because
really.
you deserve to be made fun of.
It's
I
because
agree.
yes, exactly. It's because I'm dumb and they're smart. Fuck.
Yeah, I know. Well, the other crazy thing is, so apparently and also, what does it mean to like write a song? Like, it's like how they said they wrote Carousel when they were 12, and it's
Right.
like you definitely didn't at all. You probably saw a carousel and then learned the word carousel.
I thought you were really like, what does it mean to write a song? Like, can a person really write a song, or don't all songs come from
the
a
song
higher
finds
power?
you.
Yeah.
The song finds you.
It's true.
You're gonna. Wow, there's cops driving by. This is a very tactile.
You're living in Jason Kenney's Alberta now, dude.
It's true.
Riots in the
Yeah,
streets.
the cops. People called the cops because there's too many posts about it, and they're just like,
Post
okay,
police.
oh my god, now that's a TV show
Damn,
right there.
yo, that's like an Adult Swim thing, because I don't think you could sustain that over more than 11 minutes. But
Oh yeah, you trust me. 90-minute episodes.
yeah,
Okay,
all like
no.
old school Louis type things where they're like films where you're supposed to think that it's like really good, and then it turns out that we're both just sex pests. Anyway, you
Hey,
were saying.
you said it.
Yeah, you were saying.
So they wrote this song before Feldy came along and Fentuzlered it up with his evil grimace. But there's also a strange thing, and someone pointed out on Reddit. Did I write down the name of the person? No, I did not. So it was just some guy from Reddit. You know, they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
But Feldy produced this. It features Matt Skiba. It's from 2016. And it's by someone named Andy Black from the band Black Veil Brides.
Oh,
You know this
yeah.
shit?
Of course,
I
I know
never
this
heard
shit
it before.
Oh my god, dude!
Is it like
This is
Ronnie Radke?
Oh, it's full like Ronnie Radke vibes. This was a band that, along with RR, was on the cover of Alternative Press every other month.
Right, like constantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were saying that on the Reddit. They were shit talking this guy. They're like, I don't know why I hate him. He's just in alternative press too much. But like, he has this album coming out this year, or that came out called, I guess it already came out this month, called The Ghost of Ohio, and it has like the most awful album art I've seen in quite a while.
I don't think I ever listened to Black Veil Brides, but I think they became, for like a different generation, they were like a Warped Tour band. Like it was like these people in 4 Years Strong and who were always on Warped Tour for a few years when we were way too old for it.
This isn't the album that it's on, but this is his new album, and this looks like some fucking erotic deviant art if I've ever seen it. Like, he's gone full LARP guy.
This is
I don't
good.
even know how you get there. But this is from the album The Shadow Side by Andy Black. This is featuring Matt Skiba, and people say that it's exactly the same. The song is called Stay Alive. It definitely sounds like it could be New Blink. I don't know if it sounds like this song, but I'm going to play a couple minutes of it, actually. It's all so Christian.
Jesus. It's the same
Literally.
song. All these songs are the same and they all suck.
Your thoughts become your enemies.
He sounds like Tim Armstrong almost.
Inside this cage,
Like scrubbed clean, though.
life can feel dead to me.
Oh, it's so Christian sounding. I'll skip ahead to where Skiba sings his verse. And even hearing it switch to Skiba in the second verse, you're like, they were onto something. They figured out. Was this a test run for Blink-182? I don't know.
Maybe.
Fear controls everything. Never let you turn the page. We end up only settling for when we both felt sane. Reaching out for something that you can't quite hold on to. Say goodbye and start it over when there's nothing left for you. Wanna go back home tonight, so I try this road alone. Stay alive for the good times. Stay alive.
I feel like I want to say Matt Skiba should know better, but he definitely shouldn't. So but just so you know, that version of Andy Black that you showed me was unrecognizable from the version of Black Veil Brides that I know, which I just sent you a photo
Right,
of.
yeah.
Which is where
and I did know that they were like this. They're like, they look kind of like...
well, they were like corpse
a-
paint Motley Crue, you know?
They seem like Ronnie Radke, but they also kind of look like those adorable lemmings from your PC video game.
This is absolutely inspired by the MS-DOS version of Lemmings. One of the things that they're all like kind of looking real badass, but then he also, I think that's Andy Black himself, is holding like a kind of cartoon version of a gun, like a video game
Yeah,
gun.
what the fuck?
It's like so big that it's definitely not an actual firearm. But they clearly gave up the makeup at some point and just started looking like a cool, heavy band. This band is so bad. I also am like deeply suspicious of
Is
anyone.
this guy named Andy Six?
I think he maybe changed his, like that was his cool punk name. I didn't like.
I was just trying to see if there's any like if they've been canceled like every other.
Yeah, probably.
Well, this guy
Personal
yeah,
life.
apparently I found like a really horrible rape quote from him.
What?
Some sort of edgelord thing. This is from a Facebook fan group. I don't know if his name is Andy Six or not, but someone named Andy Six from Black Veil Brides has been quoted as saying, "It's not rape if you yell surprise." So that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man.
Pretty cool thing to say.
That's sick. I also am so deeply distrustful, and that quote makes a lot of sense, of anyone who's like 20 and thinks that Motley Crue is that cool. Like what do you like? You have the idiot pickled ass brain of like a 60-year-old boomer rocker where you heard girls, 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 and you were like, that's actually very sick. Like you should not be allowed to be in a band if you are under a certain age and like Motley Crue that much.
Well, that's why I think that things should be censored more. I think we need more censorship and less freedom of speech.
Right, and this is what people are always saying about the left, and they're correct, which is all about shutting down freedom of expression and freedom of speech.
So this guy's name is Andy Biersack, but then he went by Andy Six, but then for his solo album he changed his name to Andy Black.
Do you think
Man,
that
this is a
Andy
fucking-
Six was like an homage to
Nikki Six.
the
right?
Six, Toronto?
Right, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I don't really see how that song was a ripoff of Hey I'm Sorry, but it definitely did sound like
The
it could have been a
intro's the
Feldy
same.
Blink song. Yeah, the intro's the same, but like when people were like, "That's directly a ripoff,"
No,
I don't know.
It's just
Not
people
really.
people like me who cannot be bothered to listen past. I was like, nope, identical, totally confirmed. I'm posting on
That was a
Reddit.
pretty rough listen, to be honest. Like even those 10-second snippets here and there was pretty difficult to sit through. But
I'm sorry.
there was like there was
a
a supercut of Feldy
John Feldy's.
Whoa-Ohs from across his whole career, but I was like, oh shit, this will be fun to play. But it was like literally 15 minutes of like
my
Whoa-Ohs from all different genres.
I would like a Feldy supercut of just songs that start off like do do whoa, like just some
It's
drums.
so Christian. I
and-
feel like if he doesn't know about Hillsong yet, he should learn about it because he's gonna love that shit.
he smiles the way Christian people smile.
Yeah, I know.
You know, in a way where it's like he's trying to assert something. Like there's no problems in his life because you know Jesus has taken the wheel for him. Jesus, take the board.
God. So apparently this song was like teased a lot for a long time because people were like trying to guess if certain things were it. Like Mark posted this Instagram video with like really bad stock music and people were like, oh my god, maybe this is Hey I'm Sorry. I think so. This is posted by Hi, my name is Mark, I think to advertise a shitty fucking skate deck with a terrible octopus on it. This was the music and someone was like, this must be the song Hey I'm Sorry.
Damn, that's it.
That must be the song.
Can you
I actually
imagine?
wish they were just writing like shittier, more boring songs.
That would be great. Can you imagine actually liking this band enough that would have been exciting to us? Like, I'm just thinking, like, we're not the right people to be doing this podcast because, like, I'm already so mad that I know that.
right.
Like, it's not even.
Yeah, somebody tagged our Instagram in like a video of them in the studio that did have a snippet of new music today, and I was like, I'm not gonna listen to this shit. I don't want to fucking hear this.
Yeah, I mean, I say this, you know, just to be totally honest, as someone who a few, like 100,000 episodes ago, said that I remember seeing Matt Skiba singing the "Bored to Death" hook in an Instagram video and thinking, "Damn!" But that was when you were still sort of curious about what it was all going to sound like, and it was promising. And now I'm literally dreading the prospect. Like it fills me, it keeps me up at night when I think
Well,
about
that's
new
the thing,
Blink-182 music.
Yeah, like you're sad about the last episode, but they have literally said that there are 40 new songs.
I
I
know.
think.
I'm sad about that too.
How many weeks are in a year again?
52 typically.
So that's we're close to it's 3/4 of a year added on to this.
It's like
hope they keep going,
I feel like it's
honestly.
like it's a scene in like a heartbreaking prison movie where they've established us as relatively sympathetic characters, and I'm in front of the parole board, just like, you know, I've been keeping my cell clean, working in the laundry room. That's been really satisfying. If you just ask, if you ask the warden, he'll tell you, I've kept my nose clean, and I think I'm ready to get out and see my family again. And then they're like, well, unfortunately, there's another year of Blink-182 songs, so
Yeah.
you have to stay
And
here.
also, you've been having sex with Tilly in the sewing place. I don't know enough about jail to know what the sewing
Do you
place
not
is
watch
called.
any jail television or movies? Tilly in the sewing place? That was like your bags of sand revelation that you've never seen a film or TV show set in prison.
Yeah, there's not enough comedies about it. Okay, so the thing is, that was one thing, is they were teasing it forever, and then when they announced California, it wasn't on the track listing, so all of these fucking losers who love Blink-182 were like, oh my god, where's Hey I'm Sorry? I thought it was from that clip. I can't wait to hear the full version of that stock music in that clip. And then they decided to release it as the Japanese-only bonus track of the
Ooh.
album.
Has
someone
Japan
here-
not suffered enough?
Well, the thing is, I was thinking a lot about that, actually, trying to think about, like, what's a Japanese Blink-182 fan like, and I think Japanese culture is, like, they're so good at being fans of stuff. And I feel like they're just, like, are not mean-spirited or cynical in the way that we are. So they probably just were, like, sick, new Blink-182, I love it. Probably, right?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, is that... I'm inclined to agree with you, but then is that just like a borderline racist or at the very least sort of culturally ignorant perspective? Because I think of like idol culture and the fan culture around all of that, and that's much different than even like just pop music culture in North America. So I'm
Right.
kind of inclined to I'm inclined to agree with you, but then I'm
'Cause I
also
think
trying
even
to
idol
inoculate
culture-
myself against criticism later on.
Right, just in case, yeah.
Just
That's very,
hedging. Always be hedging.
Yeah, because idol culture too is like there's nothing ironic. If anything, it's creepy because it's so earnest and sincere.
Yeah, what it registers as creepy to us because we're like, how could people just like something like this?
Yeah,
Or like anything,
exactly.
rather, you know?
Yeah, and I guess like pop punk is really big in anime and stuff too. There's always like you not that I watch very much anime at all, but the tiny bit that I have watched, I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds like pop punk. So, anyways, in this Reddit thread, someone was talking about how like pop punk's pretty big in Japan. I want to play a little bit of this band that they posted because it's so sick. So this was a post about the import track.
Okay.
And this band is called. I don't want to say the name wrong because it sounds like I'm doing a Japanese accent, but they're called Forget Me a Knots. Forget Me a Knots. But it's spelled like the number 4 and then get, like it's like some
The
funny
name is
wordplay.
like a trap for a Western listener. Absolutely. I'm willing to give you that. That's
But anyways, they're
it's like,
so
why
sick.
is the name written out like that? Like it's because if you had just
Okay,
said
here-
that, I would have been like,
If I said it
do
quickly,
you
you
want me
would
to
have been
delete
very
this, dude?
mad.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, are you gonna play or?
You get
Tell me why you cried without me ever seen. You're always. I wipe away your tears. Why do you feel uneasy? Please tell me everything I can do. Society with my thoughts. Tell me why you cried without me everything. I can
That's from 2011. That's not that far removed from.
No.
You know, like people. There are still people making incredible pop punk in this world,
Well-
and instead we just get "Hey, I'm Sorry."
Well, but here's the thing, and I don't know if you realize this, but Feldman has been infiltrating the world of Japanese pop punk. So he is the writer, producer, everything for this band One OK Rock, which is currently, or at some point recently anyway, this was like the #1 album in Japan, and this was all Feldman. I've never listened to this.
I've heard of this band before.
This is what the new Blink is going to sound like.
Well, this is the Feldman effect to just like take a pop punk band and make it sound like fucking Fall Out Boy.
I hate this.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna keep playing that
No,
shit.
but there's so like he is like at this point it's an international epidemic. Like it's
Right,
like Outbreak.
exactly.
It's full on Dustin Hoffman, whoever else was in Outbreak. It's happening.
You talking about the hardcore band Outbreak?
Now I'm talking about the hardcore band Outbreak.
Dustin Hoffman was in it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, okay, well, let's keep going. I'm just actually powering through all the Reddit posts I wrote down, but I, for some reason, went so deep on Reddit with this song and got so furiously angry again. Sometimes when I read too many of these Reddit posts, I just get so angry at the world and at myself for doing this project at all.
Do you just, like, over-research when it's a song like this? Because I, listened to it, I was like, oh, again, this is going to be a light episode.
There's quite a lot to get through.
Yeah, and you are, of course, we should note, you are in a time crunch, Josiah.
Yeah, a little bit, but it was sort of, I was bluffing a little. Of
course.
I can be late.
Yeah.
I can be late. I'm always late.
Well, you got to give your new bandmates time to, like, sesh, right?
Exactly. Okay, so I'm trying to think what, I'm going to start with this one, because there's like 100 of these. Unpopular opinion, but I actually think Hey I'm Sorry is one of the best Blink-182 songs ever written. There's like literally like 50 of these posts, and they make me so frustrated for some reason. But then, if you go to the very last comment on here, from Quinn Drummer, and the reply from Justin Gittleman Music, for some reason this conversation just like made me feel like smashing my computer. I don't know why. Like, I agree with Quinn Drummer. He wrote, I often wonder if the people on the sub are actually fans of Blink-182 at all. So many people praise Hey I'm Sorry as one of the better songs from California. At the time of writing, there are 3 in this thread. Even to be pointing out you counted how many people liked the song in one thread is so infuriating to me. The same goes for After Midnight. Neither song is anything particularly fantastic, and neither song is particularly Blink. They're just generic ballads. So this guy goes on to say, like,
These are
your favorite
if you
songs,
like
you
it,
obviously-
but what is wrong with you? Yeah.
yeah, like, he's saying, like, it's not Blink-182. And that's just, I don't know. Like, that's fine. I just can't read this shit anymore, but I keep making myself do it for some reason. And then Justin Gittleman, right, for some reason, this just makes me crazy, because he's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? He wrote, After Midnight is awesome, man. The drum beat is cool, and the whole thing has such a nostalgic, smooth feel. I don't know why that specific prose made me want to jump off my apartment building.
Calling something nostalgic smooth is
It's like insane.
it's like kind of bone chilling. Like, it's really like there's something like sort of pervy about it. Like, I don't like it.
Especially, yeah, the lack of commas in there makes it insane.
It's
And
like a
also, for some reason-
nostalgic smooth, but it's like, no, he's put them together. Nostalgic
and
smooth.
saying After Midnight is awesome, man. It's like he didn't just say After Midnight is awesome. The way that he's added man makes me feel like he's putting his hand on this guy's shoulder in a very uncomfortable way to confront him about how After Midnight is actually like, oh God. I can't even put into words how upset this makes me, but it just does. And I still don't fully know why, but and then someone else is like, why is he hating? After Midnight is one of my favorite Blink songs ever. Like,
Also, Justin Gittleman is defending the acoustic guitar in this song, which is maybe the worst production decision that has been executed in a sea of like increasingly bad decisions, because it just makes it sound like a bad Matchbox 20 song. Like, if you change the vocals, I know we've been talking a lot about how Rob Thomas, or I've been saying that Rob Thomas deserves
20.
talking 20 here. Oh, that would have been good if we just called it Talking 20 and we just did every Matchbox 20 song in 20 minutes instead of 2.5 hours about songs I've listened to twice and definitely fucking hate.
Talking 20.
Just
Someone literally did request today that we bring up Matchbox 20, so I'm glad that you did.
Didn't we do that like last week? Am I?
Yeah,
Okay.
they've said I want to hear more
More
Matchbox
20 talk.
on the pod,
Okay,
so
cool.
happy, and it is 420 this weekend. So
That's right. This is in advance of.
And you'll be using a matchbox to light your spliff.
Are you a cop? This
There's
is
so many funny things that I keep wanting to segue with, but they're like not really for the pod. So I'll tell you later.
just like so.
There's like so many things where like I should probably just tell Sam off mic.
You should
It's funny.
just keep like I think the idea that the pod is already like half of a visual experience that we don't provide listeners with. I think adding you DMing me sort of throughout the recording experience. So
Yeah. And then you laughing out loud.
yeah, and us like engaging to be like, it's true, yeah.
That's a next level neg for sure.
I think just leave them wanting more, right? Very few people realize how much of Blink-155 is just us executing the pickup artist techniques that we've perfected in our private lives and using them sort of over the...
That's how we got wives, yeah.
It's true. If people often say, Sam, how'd you get such an amazing wife? And I say, Rouge V is the answer.
Yeah, so that was a horrible thread that made me just feel so viscerally angry. And I even, like, that Justin Gittleman person you talked about, I had seen on another thread that someone said that guy's the resident California hater. So now I'm starting to learn these people by name and what they're all about.
God, and their perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. So even reading that, I'm thinking, wait a minute, Justin Gittleman's defending California here. So I'm just really having a breakdown right now
It doesn't feel
from
right.
reading Reddit.
I also am a little concerned because I feel like, I hate Hey, I'm Sorry, but I love After Midnight. So on one hand, I think Quinn Drummer has a point, which is to say this is one of the best 3 Blink songs from this era makes me feel like, what do you like about Blink? But then he lumps in a song that I like from Neighborhoods. I'm like, well, slow down there, Quinn Drummer.
Well, you like it because it's smooth nostalgic.
I want to say between the two of us, I am the most nostalgic Smooth.
That's true, because
Yeah.
I don't like nostalgia, and
Yeah.
I am not smooth at all.
And
I'm very blunt.
I am smooth head to toe and extremely nostalgic.
All right, the last Reddit post before I have a fucking rage heart attack is this one. This one specifically uses the Japanese import. So the song was on the Japanese import as the final song on the CD, and then they decided to do the deluxe and just sort of do a clearinghouse of every terrible idea they've ever had, and they included this on there. So then it became part of this other project. But previously, if you were a dumbass nerd, then you thought of it as being the end of the Japanese import, which for some people is the canon version. So Botchbino on Reddit says the album starts with "What's the point of saying sorry?" and ends with "Hey, I'm sorry." It's like it almost works.
No, yeah, fine, sure.
It's literally better. This terrible, groan-worthy, awful concept is still better than them being like, it's about California. We've named 2 songs after cities and 1 after a state, and also that's it. There's some sun.
Yeah, don't you get it? It's about. This isn't even the last song though.
But on the deluxe version
In
it
Japan.
is. So this person is using the Japanese deluxe version to make a point.
Did you ever because it's funny to think in our just immensely complicated and vast streaming landscape what a Japanese import would have meant. But do you ever remember any bands that you really loved buying imports because they had tracks that you didn't have and feeling like you were a true fan or being really obsessed with it? Was that ever a part of your collecting or just music hoarding experience? Because I know we've talked about this. Neither of us are collectors, but we obviously have liked music before.
It was for me more my middle brother, who has not been on the pod yet and probably is too mature and responsible to ever do such a thing.
What was his jerk-off glove situation like as a kid?
Yeah, exactly. That's not the kind of conversations that you'd really have with him. But he was really obsessed with Beck growing up. And then Sarah...
Of course the mature one was obsessed with Beck.
Yeah. But then Sarah, when she was a teen, was also obsessed with Beck. So both of them would have Beck rarity compilations. But they would order them on eBay and they would be burned bootlegs, basically.
Sick.
But that's pretty much the extent of it. I can't really think of anything that I've if I own something that's rare and I could get $15 for it on Discogs, I'll just do that instead. I'd rather not keep it.
I'm sorry, I'm really distracted now thinking about the idea, because I know we've talked about your family, I know you've talked about your brothers before, but just the idea that there's you and all the wonders that entails. There's Primetime 69 and his broken glass jerk off glove, and then in the middle there's just
Patreon.com/Blink155.
Yeah.
To hear that.
And then in the middle there's there's just like this normal guy who listens to Beck. It's like I'm just imagining what torture
He makes like pristine
Christmases are.
electronic pop music, and it's like very clean and dresses nice.
Like, what is it? Does he just sort of endure family gatherings? Like, what is that like?
No,
for
he's
him?
also like exactly the same as us. Like my family is like in The Simpsons where all of Homer's cousins come over and they're all just like different versions of him, but he's like the bougie coffee shop fashion version.
Okay, sick.
But anyways, where were we with this? Oh yeah, so
You were like a full on Redditor. You were basically describing all the Reddit
Yeah.
posts that you love.
like, what do you think? I don't know.
What do I
it's an
think that I'm worried
interesting-
about you? Like, I think you are going to end up like really
Becoming
being
a
worried
Redditor?
about your karma on Reddit, and you're going to have like Reddit gold. and,
Giving gold.
Yeah.
What does it even mean? Oh, people are always like, "Oh, this post deserves gold," and then you click through and it's a fucking Imgur post with like one of the old meme guys.
sorry that these are the things that make you mad about a website that you spend a lot of time on, man.
Why?
Like, Twitter's
I was
bad
thinking-
enough. Like,
I was
Twitter
actually
makes
thinking,
us-
as the person who does all the work for the pod, I was kind of thinking about unionizing. Actually,
Right. You did
Blink
make some
185 union.
demands.
I should
Yeah.
make that. Do you think someone would get mad at me if I made that the profile pic?
Oh, you should do
On our
it.
Twitter.
Honestly, that'd be very funny. And I'll be like, listen, we feel that we think that, job security is important, benefits, fair pay. That's all important to us. But when you unionize, you put us into a corner, and we can't make decisions that are good for you, that are good for the whole company. And if you unionize, it's going to lead kind of inevitably. If you look at the media landscape around North America, it leads to layoffs because management all of a
Look,
sudden is forced to make difficult decisions.
As the research, I've spoken to the Blink-155 research team. I've spoken to the social media hub and our social media ninjas and rock stars
Yeah.
that all keep this operation running. And we've all decided as a group that collectively we'd like to unionize.
Okay, so you're putting okay, and do I have to be management in this scenario? I still edit sometimes. I edit the pod. I think it's important for people listening to know that I put
Yeah,
two
that's
tracks
funny about that
like
is
near
I
each
said-
other and then upload them.
Yeah, when I said yesterday, I was like, I'm editing the Exclusive. Do you want me to post it right away? And people were like, what are you talking about editing? And I was like, yeah, damn, that's true. What am I talking about? What is editing?
Yeah, I mean there's not a lot of editing that goes into this, but
But anyways, I do think that it's kind of like if Mark Hoppus was a different, more open person, I do think that it could be interesting to make an album that opens with "What's the point of saying sorry" and ends with "Hey, I'm sorry," and has this journey of understanding, like, man, we've fallen apart, and I really do need to apologize, even though I thought I didn't. But instead, that's absolutely not what happens at all. And I think what really is happening is that he just has like 4 phrases that he uses on repeat in every song.
yeah, that's definitely it. There's nothing more clever than that going on here.
So fuck you, Reddit.
Are you going to read me like 5 more Reddit posts that make you
No,
mad?
I did write down a bunch. I think I thought there wasn't going to be a lot of stuff to share, but there is quite a bit. So let's keep moving. But was there anything worth talking about with the lyrics? I didn't even look at them. They're just so confusing.
Well, I mean, definitely, again, the Skiba thing is like so Skiba, so melodically, but also lyrically, everything you've ever hoped for, waiting there outside your front door, bleeding to death. Like, cool, man. And then hey, I'm sorry, I lost the melody. Like, it's very late era Blink, Mark Hoppus, just like mumbo jumbo, butting up against like spooky pop goth Matt Skiba vibes, which are, again, almost tight, but then ultimately not tight.
to say, hey, I'm sorry, I lost the melody is like kind of almost good also. It's like could be a song about like realizing that you've forgotten how to be a cool punk guy and you've just been too caught up in your own bullshit. But there's no, like, you can't write a song called Hey, I'm Sorry and have literally no humility as a person. It's not going to work.
Wouldn't there be, this is like if I was a producer, right? So what I would do is, when you have like auto-tune just like cranked completely up and you can kind of sing anything and it just like we'll put a some note against it that's somewhere in the key that you're singing. And so I would have Mark sing melody just like as atonally as possible and then heavily auto-tune it. So imagine just like as a, so it'd be like, hey, I'm sorry, it's the melody, like, it'd be.
That's a little thing that all those alternative press bands love to do, or like have the screen be like gated and chopped up.
Yeah, like yeah, totally. That's also again some of the best like highly produced Alkaline Trio songs are all like a gated scream and then like a ticking clock like.
Yeah, totally.
Sound effects can be so good when utilized correctly and with an honest heart. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that song.
Sorry, it took a second to load. The first verse I do think is quite insane. It's just like it's not even mumbo jumbo because it's so bad that it almost works. Like, what are you fucking talking about, bud?
Yeah.
Hold me down deep underwater, wave goodbye to all your daughters, break yourself, but why even bother? Fathers pray for princes instead. Have your fill of disappointment. 2 more years of unemployment. It sounds like a cheers, a toast. It sounds like a toast that you do at the Pint and the Pageman.
Yeah. Here's to tall ships. Oh fuck, Ashley, what's the cheers? Do you remember? It's like here's to tall ships that sail across the sea, right? Yeah. And it's like, but the best ships are friendships, and may they always be. It's like one of those things.
Or I think verse 2 is also one of those. Are you alone with all your thoughts? Your suitcase full of books you bought. The war we fought and all the battles lost. In sought, in search, exceeding expense. It doesn't even rhyme either.
I like that we're both doing kind of like Irish accents, but not fully committing to like a brogue.
Well, that's the Pageman thing is that you say pint and cheers so often that you just accidentally stumble into an Irish accent.
Right, totally. It's
that's how you know you've got tenure in your career is that you once you speak Irish.
Right. That's the sign like, oh damn, that's congratulations. I didn't realize.
Whew. Okay. Well,
what's the difference between an Irish accent and an Irish brogue? Because you never call like no one would ever say in a South African brogue. Like the Irish are the only people who get brogues.
Absolutely not Scottish. Definitely I hear Scottish brogue more often than Irish.
But okay, are those the only 2 people who get to have brogues?
Oh well, you know what I just learned here, doing a little goog.
Yeah,
is maybe you're right. I've heard Scottish brogue before, but. You may know of a brogue as a thick Irish accent. This is from vocabulary.com. And that can help you remember another meaning. It's also a thick Irish shoe. Brogues are heavy, sturdy Irish shoes, and they're usually made from untanned hide. This is a working person's shoe. It's definitely not a fancy shoe or dress shoe. Brogues can also be clodhoppers or brogans. If someone's coming from behind you in brogues, you're likely to hear them. It's almost impossible to tiptoe in brogues.
So you can't sneak up. That's a great tip. So it's like if you're planning on doing a lot of sneaking, you're not going to want a brogue. You're going to want a light sneaker.
So I guess they're saying it's like both things just mean that it's really obnoxious.
Right, just a kloppy shoe or doing a toast at a bar.
You. Yeah. Everyone's annoyed by what you're doing and doesn't want to hear you speak.
Yeah. We have not been historically kind to the Irish.
All right. So I swear to God that I actually didn't just search the phrase, hey, I'm sorry. I've searched with Blink-182 added in.
I don't believe you.
I swear to you I did that because I didn't want to go too off the deep end. And yet, here we are about to go way off the deep end. So it provided me so much stuff that I got to play some of it. This is called I'm Sorry, and it's the Markiplier remix. So I thought, maybe this is some sort of Mark Hoppus thing, but it's instead uploaded by a YouTuber named Endigo, who has a... It's interesting how, like, YouTubers also kind of look like Black Veil Brides. Like, look at that avatar.
Yeah. Well, I
don't think this person...
I think, like, Markiplier is, like, sometimes a freaky hair. It's like all the video gamers, like, they all need hair to kind of stand out. There's the one person that I think we've talked about before who has, like, their sort of viral... The video that sort of went viral for them outside of the sort of cesspool of YouTube was, like, why it's fine to wear a headdress. And this was, like, a white person.
That was on This Exists.
That's the classic This Exists episode where I defend my fondness for the headdress. It's homage.
So this is I'm Sorry Markiplier remix, song by Endigo. There's a lot of really annoying YouTube face going on here. So let's hear this shit.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 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 I'm not responsible for all these deaths, you know. I'm not going to be labeled a murderer just because I'm rapidly booing off my cup. Santa, you'll come with me whether you like it. Shut up, Santa. Shut up, Santa. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh my god, I can't play any more of it. It's so upsetting.
Honestly, that's so much better than the Blink-182 song, though.
It's
Like, isn't it?
It does remind. I gotta play this again because it reminds me of this. This. I don't think people should be allowed to go on the internet at all.
Like, you
the
definitely
main
shouldn't.
thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, okay, fine. No, we should move
I don't
on.
know. Like, do you think that guy, when he said "I'm sorry," "Hey, I'm sorry" or whatever, while Twitch streaming and just like said it normally, was like, what made them go like, "Wow, you just said "Hey, I'm sorry"? Let's turn that into a song." Like, well, there was nothing unique or special about him just saying. Is it because they don't apologize to each other very often on Twitch? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see this joke a lot, like all famous people do on the internet is write like, you know, bought a cool hat and it's like 2,000 retweets, like 400,000 likes. So I think it was just like, he said I'm sorry in a funny way, and then this has become a video with 500,000 views.
Like,
We just need to
said-
get this famous. Like, this is, you should not mock this. This should be like a tier of fame that you are aspiring to. Like, by the time Blink releases like 240 song albums and we're doing this in the year like 2030, you should hope that you can just be like a root toot toot, and then all of a sudden that's a meme. You know what I mean?
You're going to be able to go through the history of the pod, and it's going to be like True Detective Season 3, where we're like old men, like just meeting up and be like, Blink-182, we almost cracked the code. Maybe we'll go back in.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, let's keep moving on because there's a few songs called Hey, I'm Sorry. This one has a ton of like remixes as well. It seems like the sort of person who has uploaded through a professional means where this is going to get us dinged, not the other things that we play on here, but this will be the one that gets
It's
us
always
shut
is
down.
these things. Yeah, exactly.
Provided to YouTube by Contour New Media. That's like the kind of thing that's going to sue us, I think. But this artist's name is Sway Gray. And I just love this art. It's so like, you look at this art and you're like, what is this? It looks like Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy.
Oh yeah, this is so good. This is what like we should change all the Blink socials to sort of look like this. It's so
It's not something you could easily replicate though. Like, you'd think that you could, but there's little gradients where you don't think there will be.
Yeah.
And there's like even the hand in front of the sun like looks weirdly pixely kind of, but not.
yeah,
Like,
it's one of those things that like you would have trouble properly recreating for sure.
even that font, that like chalk font is fucked up. So here's Sway Gray. Okay, that is a fucking way better song.
Yeah, both of these songs have been like the Markiplier remix is better. This is way better. It's not what I expected from that artwork.
I know, right? Like this sounds, but
Like Sway
what
Gray,
does-
fire your designer. Honestly,
is Sway Gray doing like EDM? Then is that what they're going for?
yeah. Like to me, it sounds like one of those like weird, like I don't know how to describe any of this music. This is not my scene. But one of those things.
Smooth, nostalgic.
Yeah, it was. I believe it's nostalgic smooth. Like, don't mix it up.
Right.
Smooth.
No,
smooth.
I was saying this one is smooth nostalgic.
Oh.
The other one was.
Okay. Yeah. No, this is definitely more smooth and nostalgic for sure.
This one I have to play just because of the title. Well, and also because it was uploaded to SoundCloud by a child. But I love the title of this song. So Finch uploaded this 8 months ago. It's 12 minutes long. And it's important to know that this is spelled with no H, so it's very accurate, and it's relatable to me because it's called "Hey, I'm sorry, Sarah. Say sorry." Finch is apologizing to Sarah with no H, probably my wife. He's apologizing to, but saying you also must say sorry back. I wonder if anything happened.
Also,
Epic
like, Finch
12
is a
minutes
child.
long.
Like, he's like this sort of smug-looking 7-year-old.
Yeah, I think that's about right. No, there's no. I was hoping they'd be talking like, "Hey, I'm sorry, Sarah. Say sorry."
Yeah.
Again, the no punctuation is so like. I don't think you mean your apology, Finch. I think you just want an apology.
And again, it's that smug smile and kind of side eye. I don't trust it.
I don't trust Finch at
No.
all. Okay, the last one of this little section. This is so fucking weird.
Nightmare
Again, the
section,
title.
yeah.
The title is fucking me up so bad. So this artist is named Califunyans, and this is tagged alternative rock. I don't think this is irony music, but the song is called "Hey, I'm Sorry to Bother You, but can you spare a quarter so I can get a little food for my family?"
Okay, by the Califunyans.
So it's like straight up like panhandling music.
Mm-hmm. Is it going to be like? Oh, I thought it'd be more folk punk.
Yeah, me too. Like, but it's so sincere. Is it like the grade 11 photography thing of taking photos of homeless people?
Right. Just
Or, like,
relating
this is about
so
the
much.
issues. This was uploaded 3 months ago. This is a 2019 track.
Look at all the dirty things I've got. You don't know how poor I am. All I need is a shiny quarter. It could fetch me a rack of lamb. They sell bites made up and down the street. That's
Sorry, did he just say? All I
Needs
need
a
is
shiny quarter. It could fetch
It
me-
could fetch me a rack of lamb.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure that
anything to me. All I really need is a shiny quarter. With the bottle by day, I wanna shiver through the night. Yeah, it's a trick of the trade, and it ain't just mine. I don't you dare turn away. Yeah, it's on the edge of a knife. It's a trick of the trade. Yeah, and it ain't just mine. Not wise, but older.
it kind of sounds like the Spin Doctors.
Yeah, but like so much worse.
Like just insanely awful.
It could buy me a rack of lamb. All of these songs have too much intro too. Like universally, every "Hey, I'm Sorry" is like heavy on the intro.
Yeah, and 4 minutes long again. So other Califunyans songs available on SoundCloud include "You Can't Beat Me Up Because My Daddy Will Sue You." I think that's probably satirical about like rich kids. "Double Vodka and Sprite with a Lime." So you'd think, oh, it's a naming convention. All the songs are long, but then there's another one that's just called "Prescriptions."
Yeah. Double whiskey and double vodka and Sprite with a lime is the classic Dillinger 4 anthem that we all know and love.
Prescriptions. Hey, this is Prescriptions.
Should we listen to it? Hey, I just want to know like what kind of heavy shit they have to say.
Sound effects.
So it's a movie? Oh yeah.
Here we go.
This is it. They're going to solve the opioid crisis with this sound.
This one is from last year. That's why it sounds a bit dated.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's a curse on the drum might set me off. What a day for presentation. Suddenly raccoons hopping in and out. I got out of the prescription. Standing there with
Kind of a trap beat in the background.
yeah. But don't say let the word, girl. I don't care, no. What I want to do. Fire out, still real.
This is
I love that I still find things. It's like for you probably, you sometimes find a song where the harms hit so sweetly that you feel a renewed sense of purpose and joy because you found a new favorite. And I love that I can still, in 2019, April 2019, I can still find things that become the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
You didn't like the triplets on the
incredible.
hi-hat there? They didn't like really...
What is the? And I cannot begin. Like, I don't think we're doing justice to how bad this art is for the album.
No.
Things to put inside your ears. I can't even describe this art in any way. It's so fucked.
It's indescribably good. This is when we talk about sort of what sucks about Maroon 5, this is what sucks about Maroon 5.
Yeah, that's true. This is. Yeah, it's Maroon 5 doing everything. I think that this person might be into the Kravitz as well. I think I'm hearing some Kravitz. a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. It's very it's got
definitely someone who
floppy
just
dick
says-
energy for sure.
It's someone who like constantly talks about how there's no real music anymore.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Or just like they're just into like just good tunes. It's like I don't know. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I was trying to find socials for it and I can't. It turns out Californians is like a thing that people write about California, which is awful. I don't know. Anyway, let's move. Please, let's
So-
move on.
Okay, let's move on to something even worse, which is somehow, while searching Hey, I'm Sorry, Blink-182, I found a plethora of little children apologizing for not uploading in a while on their YouTube channel.
You do like a supercut. This is, hey guys, sorry it's been a while. Hi guys, sorry it's been a while.
There's so many. I think this one was a fave. Donut Crew. I think that one's good. So I'm gonna play Donut Crew. This is the user Donut Crew. It has 9 views. Keep in mind I watched it earlier as well. So here's Donut. It's just like a boy like in the darkest. It looks like a horror movie. It looks like a horror UGC.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's me Ben here, and I just wanted to let you know this is gonna be a quick video. I don't have a lot of storage on my phone because I haven't set my thing up yet, but that's what I'm about to talk about. First off, I have not been uploading because of I had driver's ed, and
That
brother
kid
just
can't
today.
drive.
I've been sick. It's been a rough week, but I just uploaded a video, a sequel of Because My Friends Are Weird, and yeah, so go check that out. Maybe you like it, I don't know, but it's just a short video. Tomorrow I will try to make a video. It will probably be like 10 minutes long if I can get I'm gonna test it, see how long of a video.
Yeah, there's a lot of little kids doing videos called Hey, I'm Sorry that are like 90 minutes long. just so you're aware.
Okay, good. You don't have band practice tonight, do you? That was like to lull me.
No, there's quite a few of these, but I'm going to skip quite a few of them as well, just out of respect for you and our listeners. But
You don't lie to me.
this kid uploaded 3 that are all called Hey, I'm Sorry, and his username is My Life Dreams 101, which I just really love as a username.
Yeah.
But they're just like always him, just like
I just
barely.
intro.
He's just like saying like I want to do the intro. They're all.
You don't.
What is this?
Like, I feel like YouTube should block these videos from being. There's so many of these videos that just serve no purpose, and he's testing out different filters on his camera.
Well, they serve a purpose. Like, you're now talking about them on like a podcast that is borderline successful. So
Yeah, I know. Well, they do serve a purpose. This one is entitled "Hey, I'm sorry, but I not." I don't even know what this says.
These are all like, this is because I only recently finally watched 8th grade. After having it recommended by everyone, including you.
Hell, I only recently graduated 8th grade.
Sorry, what do you? Oh, you're DMing me just the
Those
titles
are
of
the
videos.
title. The title of the video is "Hey, I'm sorry, but I not," and then the description is "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not intangible." Like, I feel like this is terrifying.
I thought you
and
were
not-
apologizing to me in the DMs for how this episode was going. Like, hey man, I'm sorry.
I'm not intangible though. Okay,
No.
Stop treating me like I'm intangible.
No, you're highly tangible. Don't worry, dude.
What do you think my life dreams 101 was trying to say?
You know, I think they're just trying to express like dreams in a not a literal way, right? So the different
wow. So
filters,
it's sort of-
it's like what they're trying to do is bring
it's kind of
dreams
like-
into their life. Like my life,
It's
dreams.
like if 8th grade was directed by present day Terrence Malick.
Yeah. Imagine how sick.
That would be.
Yeah, that's it. That was. I should just.
you just started imagining it halfway through your
I
sentence.
you
just were there.
Pulled right up.
This is a handheld shot, sort of like an angel floating through the house.
Yeah, totally. There's a
8th
dinosaur.
grade is really good. To be honest with you, in the middle of Ernest season, I was trying really hard to get the lead actor on the
Oh
pod.
my goodness!
But I couldn't get in touch with her. It
Really?
was really hard. But she does have a pod where she's playing Dungeons and Dragons with her friends for the first time.
Oh yeah! Come on.
Yeah, get on here. Get over here.
Okay, if you know the girl from 8th grade, please tell her to come on the pod.
So literally, there are for some reason I was just being very painstakingly I don't know the word,
Just
comprehensive
Josiah?
with my research today. Yeah, exactly. But I skipped a bunch. There's a bunch more little kids saying sorry, or really not saying sorry, but just titling their video that for some reason. But then I did find this nice lady that I wanted to play. And then we'll almost get to covers after this. But so this lady's name is I don't know how to read it. you?
She'll have it Shimsha Cohen. I don't know. You just got to say things quickly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, seems like you're not hedging when you do that, but this is again shot UGC mode, upright camera, which it's funny when people used to say flip your phone on its side in the comments all the time, because actually this makes it seem way more intimate for some reason.
Yeah, well, because it just this has become the way of also in popular culture depicting like naivete, you know, where like
totally.
And so I think we also have been trained to view the vertical video as like inherently just like more like you're not shooting it for anyone. Like if you're shooting something, like if you're capturing an accident for the news, you got to make sure you tilt your phone, right? But if you're FaceTiming your family, you stay vertical, right?
Totally. I hate FaceTiming. So
It's
this,
so weird. Every time I'm like away and I try to I'm like, actually, we should do a video chat. And then we're just like, this is weird. Let's just go back to texting.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to ask what happens next, but when you're away, texting your wife.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Hey.
By the way, do you realize how many people are going to make fun of us for saying sorry Canadianly?
I don't we don't say sorry.
Yeah, Canadians say sorry, and Americans say sorry.
Right, yeah. I feel like
wow, you guys sound so dumb how you read it phonetically how it looks, and you don't say it like us. Sorry.
in my mind, the only people that listen to this podcast are Australians and Englishes. You know, I can't. I feel like
there's a lot of Americans, and they're going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe you say sorry," and not sorry.
That's honestly a really good American impression.
Thank you. Well, let's watch the lady whose name that you said perfectly. Mm-hmm. So she's sort of like I don't think she's manic pixie dream girl, but she has that energy, but she's more like yogi. I don't think she would be in an indie movie, but this is definitely like a girlfriend sending you a message in a movie.
Right.
I just don't know if it's an indie movie.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, she has multicolored, there's 6 colors in her hair. It looks like like a sherbet ice cream sort of hair.
Yeah, she's hit the sun. The sun is literally doing the hair light thing behind her. Like it's like a very well lit, well composed shot where you're just occasionally getting like a sort of a little bit of a sunbeam. It's quite beautiful.
Yeah. So here's what she has to say in her video entitled "Hey, I'm sorry."
So I just had this moment of awakening.
Oh, yeah.
I spoke with someone who said that it is the new year and they really don't need to apologize to anyone because they obviously didn't hurt anyone. And I realized that I might be thinking the same way too. So if that's how that person thinks, that might be wrong. It's very possible that I hurt someone. So I wanted to apologize if I hurt anybody this year or before. Our human intentions are always to make things better, either for ourselves or for the world. And sometimes we step on other people without meaning to. So I wanted to look into your eyes and sincerely apologize if I did anything that hurt you. And if I did, please let me know so I could apologize in person.
This reminds me of the Nathan For You episode where he kept making that actor girl say "I love you" to him until like he started crying. Like she's literally looking in your eyes while you watch this and apologizing, but she's a stranger. It's fucked up.
It's way too intense. I actually the combination of looking at it and hearing it was like too weird, and so I'm looking at other stuff on the internet right now. I can't.
I'm wondering if this is like. I'm wondering if that was sincere or if it's like an ASMR type thing where some people just like need to watch videos of being apologized.
Oh my God.
And whatnot.
Oh, is that a trend? Apologize. Okay, well I'm getting Timbaland with One Republic. Okay, apologize to me.
She does have a recent video, a 1-minute blessing to you.
Aw.
She's really good at making eye contact with the
Day
camera.
that I was born, so I have special powers to bless people today. I want to share. We have a spark inside of us that.
This is too insane. And also that one was like jump cuts the whole time. Like fucking Godard directed that YouTube vid.
Dude, there are so many ASMR. Like here's one that is ASMR girlfriend role play after the fight. I'm sorry. Oh, no. And this like other videos. Can we please talk? Crying after fighting. Makeup girlfriend role play ASMR.
Can you open the door, please? Let me in.
This is uploaded by Girlfriend Audios.
Baby, come on. I know I messed up. It's totally my fault. I'm so sorry, baby. Just let me come in and apologize. Please, baby.
Hey, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I lost the melody. Damn, the internet rules. Like I feel like the only ASMR like stuff that I see is when like someone on Twitter screen grabs something weird that's like ASMR like nun nurses you back from the bubonic plague, and then people. But the idea that like you could live a fairly fulfilling life just listening to like ASMR.
Yeah, you could build an entire narrative about your body pillow that you cuddle, your waifu or whatever.
Yeah.
Using those videos alone, it's incredible. But we've been way off topic, and it's not even my fault this time. You're sending me links that don't have the full song in the title, which is really not okay.
This is gonna be the rest of your night from me. Is you're gonna be at band practice and I'm gonna be sending you no eroticness, arguments in bed, tiredness, cuddles, kisses, ASMR, makeup
that one
after
does look
fight
really good.
videos. Yeah. If we ever do end up in like a serious disagreement, this is how I'm gonna apologize to you.
These are so long.
It's not my fault I didn't clean the house perfectly. I guess nothing's perfect in this house.
You did say your house was messy
No,
earlier.
nothing is perfect, and you know
My
that.
house is messy. Are you supposed to be saying things in between?
I guess.
You've got to come to terms to realize that nothing is perfect in this house. You understand me?
Well, I just wanted it to be perfect because it's my birthday.
Okay, just because I clean the house doesn't mean it's gonna be perfect like you want it to be.
But
Okay? I clean the house. You should respect that.
So I think this channel's whole vibe. They're called Salty Audio, and the description is "Piss off! I did the house like you said. Nothing is going to be perfect, so deal with it. If you don't like how I clean the house, then hire someone to do it better. Look, we got to start arguing. I forgive you. I love you." And that's all their things are like: meeting your parents, teas before work. Wow. Comfort from PTSD.
I mean, you can see how something like that would actually be helpful. I don't know. I guess it also is helpful if you're really lonely and you want to like get in a fight with your boyfriend. Why that other one would be helpful?
Yeah, I want to make this clear. Like, I'm not mocking ASMR like, at all, or any. I'm not making fun of any of this. But there's a world that I have not dug into, and it's definitely fascinating.
Well, it's funny because ASMR has been a punchline for like 5 years to the point where like saying ASMR is almost cliche. At this point.
Totally.
But the thing is, it's still like evolving and growing and refuses to die, and it's kind of incredible.
Well, and I feel like it's one of those things that when it was introduced to most people, it was like, isn't this fucked? Like this freaky shit that like people are doing on the internet, and if it comes up now, it's still like a bit of a quirk. Like I feel like you'll be in some conversation with, as they say, some normies or whatever, and someone will mention it, but then like some normie will be like, oh, I listened to it to go to sleep, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, again, not because I don't engage with it in that way, but like.
I'm just more freaked out by the initial video that led us down this path. When you add eye contact, that's
I
when
can't.
It gets, insane.
Yeah, it's too
so
too
fucked.
But I accept that person's apology. I already said their name perfectly, so I don't have to say it again.
Yeah, it was. I didn't really. It seemed like it was sort of a false premise for the video. She said that someone had posted that the new year means you don't have to apologize anymore, and I was like, wait a minute, this video is already. That's a straw man argument.
Right?
Here.
Yeah.
I should almost comment on that, but instead, I'm going to show you a parody of this song by somebody with the SoundCloud account Parody 101.
Yes. Oh my God!
We all know it's our
yes.
boy Darius Burke, whom we love very much.
I was hoping this was going to be a different Bernie, but that's fine.
Me too. Yeah. So you normally hear the term Bernie. The term Bernie has really made a full comeback. Unless you're like some sort of dumbass, Bernie has mostly positive connotations, I think. But in very recent history, and in fact, this song was posted only 1 year ago, where it's the wrong Bernie. But recent history, we used to talk about Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
Who fucking made off with your money.
Did you just come up with that right now?
Would you believe me if I pretend that I did?
Yes.
Okay, then yes.
Wow, dude. You're very funny.
So our friend Darius Burke has turned "Hey, I'm Sorry" into "Hey, I'm Bernie" / Bernie Madoff song. And in the caption, Darius has, this is an example of parallel thought. Darius has also said, "I made off with all your money." Ha 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 ha.
Great minds.
LOL.
Great minds.
Man, I love Darius Burke. By now, I was hoping that we'd be like premiering one of his films, really like setting up a step and repeat for his premiere, maybe getting a Blink-155 logo on it. But instead,
it's upsetting because I feel like otherwise the people that we've become quietly obsessed with on this podcast, you've managed to sort of connect with and become friends with, whether they're like, teenage girls or like German far-right nationalists. Right. And so your failure with Darius is kind of unique and therefore uniquely upsetting.
He's the one that got away,
Yeah.
the one that my nagging didn't work on. There is limitations to my knowledge of nagging. Yes, I'm friends with Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons. No, I will never be friends with Darius Burke.
Yeah.
And he created this Bernie Madoff parody that we're about to listen to. Like, I fucking want to talk to this guy.
How is Darius Burke harder to be friends with than Dan Reynolds? Yep.
Really good.
Yeah. That's...
Money flow into my Chase bank account. No one bothered to look there. It never mattered, everything is now gone. Why do I have to rip off 1,000,000 people in 1 or 2 more years? And I'll be in jail and I don't know why it's just so tough. Everything I've ever wanted, gold watch, Rolexes, and I'm gonna make a lot of money. And everything I've ever hoped for, now I'm in jail and I'm paying the price. Here we go, this is my statement. Hey, I'm burning, lost all of your money. Whoa. Hey, I'm burning, I'm sorry about your money. Whoa. And I burn all your money with my cigarettes. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Now, I'm not much of a financial analyst, or I don't know much about economics, or frankly, I'm not very good with money to begin with. But I don't think that that's the definition of a Ponzi scheme. That you burn it with a cigarette,
No.
the people's actual physical cash. You take the cash from them, and then you light a cigarette and throw it on the pile of cartoon dollar bills.
Yeah, I think you are betraying a little bit of your financial ignorance right now, Josiah, which is many people assume that a Ponzi scheme is, the sort of like bilking old people out of their money and not giving them what they want. And as a pyramid scheme, it's sort of the same thing, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Actually, you're right, because I just looked it up, and Ponzi scheme comes from the you take a cigarette and throw it Ponzi money.
Thank God.
And that's why
I
it's
was like
called
hoping
that.
we'd come up with something there, but yeah, that's good. That was good.
Aw, Darius, you rock, bud.
If someone who's not blocked by Darius, tell him that just like we want to be friends. Like,
Yeah, we're not trying to be mean. Like, I will say there were some issues with the song, but it's constructive. I think you have a decent premise.
yeah.
I think it's great to parody songs that most people probably haven't even heard the original,
Yeah.
because then you could actually
Carve out your own
surpass
space.
the original.
Yeah, and again, I think because we're friends, Darius, like we're not making fun. We're offering constructive criticism, and I think that's part of the honesty that defines true friendship. So,
I'm just curious how it ends. Actually, I'm going to skip to the very end.
spoilers. Cool.
Really good. Really high gain on the recording too. It's in a way it's its own ASMR. So you can hear like keys and stuff. He's probably grabbing his keys to go to set because he's a filmmaker
That's it.
too.
Yeah, got to like always on the move, just sort of ducking in, doing a little project for us, ducking out.
Well, Sam, I've got some good news. There's not too many covers proper.
Cool.
So we can watch more Little Kids if you want. Or I
Right.
can play you.
How many
the
little
few that I've
kids
got.
did you like? How many like
There's so many.
eighth
There's
grade
like
style
15.
YouTube channels are you subscribed to now?
I didn't subscribe, but I've written down a lot. There's some girls just talking about how they went to see the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie and how great of a time they had. And it's like, why would you call that? Hey, I'm sorry, I don't understand. But I don't know. But instead, we're gonna play you. Hidden Message has done a cover of it. This has almost 24,000 views, so if someone likes this, maybe it will be us. Hidden Message with their cover of Hey, I'm Sorry.
Hold me down, deep underwater, wave goodbye to all your daughters. Break yourself, but why even bother?
It's such a long song.
It's so long, but I have some exciting news about Hidden Message. I'm pretty sure they're Indonesian.
Hell yeah.
So I liked it because, just by virtue of my just fondness for Indonesian pop punk and the great country.
Would you
of
say
Indonesia.
you're exoticizing them?
Yeah.
little,
Oh,
or-
absolutely. I would say that I'm not going to look back on this moment fondly.
Okay, I'm skipping an acoustic guy actually because I
You do
think,
need to
like,
get to band practice, right?
Yeah, at some point tonight I should probably, and also eat something. There are a few acoustics I'm going to play in a second, but I think it actually sounds really good as an acoustic song. But maybe that makes me agree with one of those Reddit people from earlier that it's not a great Blink-182 song. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a good sign that when it's arranged as a really wussy acoustic song that it sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's like there's good melodic ideas inside of it, but it's a plodding Blink song, and it's terribly produced.
Yeah, but before I play more acoustic, there's this guy who's doing like sort of a loner pop punk cover. So this is 55A Avenue on the old YouTube. And he decided to sort of editorialize a little bit in his description and said, why was it only a bonus track? It should have been a single.
Hell yes.
It's one of the better songs on the album.
Should have.
I think this is an example of just withholding from people made them think that it's so much better than it is. The fact that they knew about the song for so long and then didn't get to hear it for so long, they built up this whole backstory about it, that it's so much better than it is.
I mean, many people have said that "Hey, I'm Sorry" is Blink-182's The Other Side of the Wind. You know, just long fabled, one of LA's great mysteries, and
Yeah, I don't know about that. This ain't it, Chief, as people say online. Here's this guy.
Hold me down.
yeah.
Deep underwater, wave goodbye to all your daughters.
I love that he's done this split screen trick where it looks like he's jamming with himself.
Yeah.
Have your fill.
It kind of seems like if Jay Baruchel had never achieved any success.
Unemployment, all your fears come to life and leave you boarded up, abandoned, and spent. Everything you've ever hoped for waiting there outside your front door, bleeding to death.
But it looks like he's jamming with a tiny version of himself.
You've never wanted,
Like he scaled it in such a weird way.
for everyone's dying breath. I'm sorry I lost
Huh, really, eh?
Oh, when the chorus came in, the guitar player version of himself went into focus.
Oh, cool.
So it almost looks like he's using a split diopter now.
Wow, Guy, I don't know if this song is in your range. Wait, there's like stuff later, like go to around,
Oh, what's this effect? He's really produced
go to
this.
around like 2:30, because like he's really like directed it, because there's a point where the guitar him is not playing, and so he's like looking up at himself, which only serves to amplify this like very bizarre visual of this man jamming with a like.
He looks at himself. So what did he film first?
I don't-
I mean, and also, the aspect ratio keeps changing. Sometimes the black bars are. Maybe that's because he had to combine the two shots. It got wider than he anticipated.
Yeah, it's just the tiny version of him is so weird. It's not like comedically tiny. It's just like
Yeah, it's just like
A
a little
version of him
bit
that's like-
unsettling.
a foot and a half shorter. It's so weird.
And then there's that one
wide shot of him in the
singing
kitchen?
that is, it's from the perspective of the tiny guitarist on the leather couch. And yeah, I don't like that I can see his kitchen because it's. Why did he put like party bus lights
Yeah,
under the
he's-
cabinets? It's so
Yeah, it's not
weird.
like a subtle like just sort of like LED like sort of pop. It's full on yeah, like party bus LED dollar store
Oh my
strip.
god. He did the exact same setup, possibly the same day actually, cover of Closer by the Chainsmokers, which is Blink-182 adjacent.
Yeah, so we should
So I'm
definitely.
a little curious what this...
He's almost normal sized as a guitar player in this one.
Before I met you, I drink too much, and that's an issue, but I'm okay.
Yes.
Hey, tell your friends it was nice to meet them, but I hope I never see them again. I know it breaks your heart. Moved to the city in a broke down
It's a good song though, right?
Obsessed with this.
No calls, now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar and
Just thinking about you showing up late to band practice, like, sorry, I had to watch this guy and then a little version of the same guy cover the Chainsmokers.
I wish that I could show you what my face looks like right now because I'm literally in awe. Like I have an awe-struck.
You gotta
look on my
share
face right
this.
now.
This all has to go up on the socials because this is extremely visual. Oh, now he's on an acoustic guitar. If you go later, like go again around 2:30.
You gotta hear him say the word Blink-182.
Oh,
He's gonna look into the camera when he says it, I think. I just love that, whatever, do whatever you want to do in life. Who am I to judge? But I like that he's sort of picked the Logic drummer packs that just sound like a bad local bar band. Like, it sounds like a 60-year-old is playing this right now.
Look as good as the day I met you. I forget just why I left you. I was insane. Stay and play that Blink-182 song
Yeah.
that we beat to
The
death.
guitarist nodded at him when he said it.
hell yeah! Just a couple fans.
And I say the
jamming.
guitarist because I've already suspended disbelief that it's not the same guy. What a gift.
The
What an
internet is
actual
super good.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song, I don't know.
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, that was the one non-acoustic that I was going to play. So let's go to this one, which I think is also a guy who's made it look like he's jamming with himself. This is uploaded by Law Gain. I had some hardware issues, therefore the video and audio are not completely in sync. Nevertheless, I hope you like it. Could just probably not upload that version then. No one was asking for it.
Same thing though. A lot of split screen. Real like Rufio hair, which is sick.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, what is this hair? This person's wearing a very bright wig that could be Black Veil Brides or Motley Crue, but also seems kind of anime-ish.
Yeah.
to me.
I don't know. It's bright red to me. I see that and I think. But I guess his was like not fully bright red. I don't know. I'm gonna look at pictures of Rufio.
You're talking
now.
about Rufio, I think. I think Hook is like on a lower rung up there with baseball and Star Wars as like the pop punk thing that people are into.
I mean, there's a reason why there was a pop punk band called Rufio.
Oh my god, they're so good. We can't get sidetracked. Here we go. So just imagine that there's a guy wearing a comically ridiculous red wig and also jamming with himself. Some sort of like ocarina. Yeah, it is an ocarina. Which makes me think that it's definitely meant to be an anime wig.
Hold me down, deep underwater, wave goodbye. To all your daughters, break yourself. But why even bother? Fathers pray for princess instead. Have your fill of disappointment, 2 more years of unemployment, all your fears come to life and leave you boarded up, abandoned and spent. Everything you ever hoped for, waiting there outside your front door, bleeding to death. Everything you never wanted, it seemed just like the haunted place. They say for everyone's dying gray. I'm sorry, I lost the melody.
This is one where I think I definitely am going to need to make sure everyone sees the video.
Yeah, there's a lot
'Cause it's
happening
the
here.
This has just been a very fucked up experience.
Yeah. I also kind of got distracted because it turns out that the actor who played Rufio, Dante Basco, crowdfunded a short film prequel, Rufio prequel to Hook, called
Oh boy.
Bangarang, a short fan film about Rufio before Hook, and it surpassed its goal of $30,000 on Kickstarter. So have that to look forward to.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say. That this guy, all of this guy's videos are him jamming with himself in this wig, playing Angels and Airwaves and Plus 44 songs.
Maybe we can get Law Gain on the pod.
I mean, I would hope so.
I don't know, man. We've
Who
struck
knows?
out a lot with.
Yeah, we've been striking out like crazy lately. I tried Tom DeLonge's emails from WikiLeaks, and he's changed them
John
all.
Podesta.
Darius Burke blocked me. I didn't try John. According to WikiLeaks, his email address is very predictable, though.
Are you not saying it because you're worried that, like,
I don't want to get like framed for Pizzagate or whatever, so I don't want to say it. But I thought by the end of it all, we would need to kind of be grounded again, and we've been talking about people that the friends I've made along the way. And this person is my friend in the most superficial sense, in that I'm just friends with him on Facebook and have only talked to him once. But fucking love Lucas D.
Lucas D. The D is for delightful.
He is delightful. He's truly like, he just is so. It's for down to earth. It's for other synonyms that would describe him that start with D that you could in post. We'll add them. But yeah, he's just like, he's so uncool in a way that makes him so cool. He's like I don't even know how to describe him. He transcends description because he's like normcore times a million. Lucas D.
And also,
he's just plain. He's just like a plain guy. He's just like a guy.
Well,
you know? He's trying to live his goddamn life.
I think we've maybe talked about this before on the pod, but friend of the pod, former guest of the pod, Ann T. Donahue, has made fun of me in the past for dressing like a sim, which is just to say,
oh yeah, like an NPC.
Yeah, but Lucas D. dresses like a sim. Like, he's just.
He does, but then if you study him enough, you notice that he's really proud of his little earring. And he also, like, grooms the shit out of his scruff, which I guess does make him seem like a sim as well. I don't know. There's something about Lucas D that's, like, so intentional as well as being so plain.
Yeah, the D also stands for duet because he's obviously in a split screen here, duetting with himself.
Yeah, he's always doing that shit. Okay, let's get into Lucas D, and then we'll be done with this fucking song finally.
It's a long episode.
Oh, yeah. I like him better than Odie.
Fuck right off with that shit, man.
I'm going to just pause for a second. That's what I was meaning to say. And he's just about to start singing. Odie is great, and Odie is beautiful.
Yes.
And I do like Odie.
Don't keep going, man. Don't keep going. You might not be able to take it back. I'm going to end up sending you, like, some ASMR. I'm sorry for this fight video tonight, and I don't want to do it.
There's something about Odie that seems a little bit self-aware, like he knows how sensitive and hot he is, and he's maybe trying to weaponize it to get something out of it from whoever he may be interested in.
I would say that may come from being more successful, right?
Lucas D plays his guitar and just sort of glances off into the distance, and he performs these covers in a way that suggests Lucas D is not doing this because he's trying to get something out of you, nor is he even doing it because he wants to, but Lucas D is doing this because he fucking has to.
Yeah, no, that's true. He's expressing something that's just, it's just inside of him. No, I get that.
Hold me down, deep on the water, wave goodbye to all your daughters, break yourself. But why you even bother? Fathers pray for princess instead. Have you filled of disappointment? 2 more years of unemployment, all your fears come to life and leave you born up and bad at the spend. Everything you ever hoped for waiting there outside your front door, bleeding to death. Everything you never wanted, here seemed just like that haunted place. They say for everyone's dying breath. I'm sorry, I lost the melody. Whoa.
reason you like every song by the end is because I always save Lucas D for the end of these California songs.
Yeah, it's
Because I fucking love this song.
that
now.
was like, again, the song is good. There's good bones there, you know. But the flesh is bad. Good bones, bad flesh. That's my. That's
The flesh is bad is a very Christian outlook. So I'm glad that you've really embraced that.
So I hate flesh, but I love bones, and that's my final thought on this incredible song by the band Blink-182. Josiah, what do you think of the song "Hey, I'm Sorry," which is also by
There's
this
so many.
band?
I just think that there's so many little kid YouTubes that I have to get through still,
no.
and I feel like this wasn't long enough in a
Should we
way.
keep going?
And I am getting texted a lot right now.
You should go. Mark Little, thank you so much for joining me. I was just saying to you before I started recording that I've been badgering you to do this because I tend to use the guest spots on this podcast as a vehicle for me to harass people whose like recent output I've been like obsessed with in some capacity, whereas Josiah, my co-host, exclusively uses it to talk to people who make pop punk memes. So I got really, really into Cavendish, which is a show that just wrapped on the CBC. But you've also got Gary and His Demons, My Gorgeous Son podcast. I'm looking at your Twitter bio right now.
That's all you need.
Yeah, Roller Town, Cupcake and Dino, Picnic Face. The Michael Jordan of this is, I guess, the Michael Jordan of baseball of comedy is not a thing. That's just how you're describing yourself.
That's me in my own mind. Sure, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So I got to start off with the fact that this is a Blink-182 podcast, and I need sort of some sense of where we're starting from with you and what your relationship to this band is.
I was incredibly into them for a time in my life, probably in high school. I can't remember exactly when, but like Dude Ranch.
Yes.
Dude Ranch is sort of the beginning and the end of my relationship with Blink-182, but it was a torrid affair.
Now, did you like follow Dude Ranch down? Did you become like a punk, or was this sort of your dalliance with the dark punk arts?
I followed it down. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that was like some guy showed up at my high school from some other town. He brought Blink-182 and Millencolin and some other like pop punk with him. And then for me and a few other people, that was kind of like, that was the first taste. And then it went down from there. Although I would say I never got too far out of like the pop punk side of things. I never like really put that much distance between myself and the pop.
Right. So it never got like harder. We've been talking a lot about like D-Beat and Crust for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So it's safe to assume like you're not like a hardcore closeted Nepsi fan.
No, I don't even know who that is.
Okay, that's just for the best. At this point.
I went as deep as like, I got really into like Propagandhi. Like I got really into Propagandhi and like Anti-Flag and International Noise Conspiracy. But all of that, like there was still melody in all of the stuff I liked, you know. Anytime there was a complete lack of like hooks, I couldn't really access it. I've got pretty sugary tastes.
That's fair, dude. I'm extremely the same, but I'm very curious about this guy like coming to town, the Music Man style, and sort of turning all of you onto this hard-edged new sound. Look, where did you actually grow up?
I grew up in New Westminster, BC. British Columbia, but I went to high school in Port Moody. So this was in Port Moody.
Okay. I appreciate you explaining what BC is for our international listeners.
Yeah. I figured that might be necessary.
It would be, except for the fact that like this is the most alienatingly esoteric podcast about an internationally popular pop punk band. Like a while ago, like we ended up talking a bunch about various Canadian TV shows. Like we've already talked about Street Sense extensively on this podcast, and all of the Australians that listen to it somehow return, which is quite
amazing.
Baffling.
Well, Andy Bush, my partner on Cavendish, is a Street Sense alumnus.
Yeah, that's right. So this is like, I'm 2 degrees now from the Sense, right?
That's right.
And they're bringing it back. I feel like Jonathan Torrens is bringing back Street Sense.
Is he really? Oh, that's good.
So someone sent me a headline. I didn't click any deeper, but I thought, cool, man. That's cool.
Cool.
So So this guy brings into Port Moody all of these records, and are you guys all immediately then like skateboarding and drinking in the parking lot? Does the town totally go to shit? Like what happens when you get your first taste of No Cigar by Millencolin?
Oh man, that's the right song to list there. That's exactly the song that got me into Millencolin.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, yeah, I feel like my shoes got wider and flatter immediately.
Yeah.
Like morphed beneath my feet, and then I don't know, I found a piece of wood and all of a sudden it had wheels on it.
It's just all happening.
It all happened. No, I don't think that didn't necessarily happen. Like it was like a pretty, as far as like, just imagine like a shitty, dirty, like suburban punk scene that like crossed with like those movies about the 50s where everyone would just like drive. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you're just cruising?
Yeah, like that was Port Moody. It was like there was nothing to do, and there's maybe one all ages thing, but I don't even recall. And then but most of it was just like a bunch of people who had just got their driver's license, a ton of my friends who just cared so much about cars and drinking and just like driving to the places where they could drink and like smoke weed. And then that was it. So it was just like that. It was just like people driving to McDonald's and parking in the parking lot,
yeah.
People driving up Burnaby Mountain and parking in the bush and then blasting punk. Like that was the scene. Not a lot of skateboarding or anything like that.
Were you like a good kid or were you a bad kid? Were you like smoking cigs and slamming 40s in the bush?
Oh, I was such a good kid, and I was so like fraught with all of my bad kid urges. There's a reason I never went too far past pop punk. You know, it appealed to a certain like, I don't know, good boy in me.
Pop punk is definitely good boy music.
It is. Like I transitioned from it didn't take long for me to go from that into emo, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I got even sweeter by the end.
You've kind of got the hair for it. Did you go like full swoop? What was your emo phase like?
Oh my God, I don't know. I did that wrong too. I did it all wrong.
What was like your shitty emo phase? Like how did you goof that?
Oh man, I don't know. Like I was into it. I goofed it by being into it way too late in life. I think I was in like first year university. You know what I mean? Showing up to like English lit lectures with red hair.
Yeah, you got to let them know, man.
Yeah, that was actually the only time I ever skateboarded was like end of high school, beginning of university. I think I brought my skateboard to like 4 lectures before I was like, I gotta do something else. This isn't fitting.
You got to fly the flag though. Like it's important because then all the kids in your class know, hey, this dude shreds, right?
Yeah, except then the people who relate to that will realize I'm disappointing, and the people who won't will just hold me at arm's length. It's an alienating move I had.
It's tough. Yeah, that's a no-win situation for sure.
It was no win. I briefly had the Tom DeLonge lip ring. That was as deep as I went stylistically, I think.
Was it full on inspired by?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, I think I'd seen them around a little bit, but my sister had like a Blink-182 poster on her wall, and Tom had that lip ring, and I thought it looked great.
Yeah. How long did that last? Like, when did you take that out?
It probably only lasted like 4 months. I took it out to do a photo. I took it out to do a headshot because a friend of mine had just revealed to me that you could make money being an extra in movies, and Vancouver had that going on. So I did some headshots to try and become an extra, and then it wouldn't go back in after I removed it.
That's so
and
sad.
I was devastated.
Do you have like a scar at all?
Yeah, I've got a little scar, and everyone who sees it is stunned that I ever had it.
But it's good to like have a sort of secretive past that people wouldn't guess at, right?
I love it. Yeah, I wish I had a couple dopey tattoos from that period too. You know,
a couple of band,
but I also kind of wish I did.
Regrettable band logos. Are there any other like? What was the band logo that you would have got tattooed on you as like a rebellious but still ultimately good boy 17-year-old? Like, what was the mistake tattoo? Do you think?
Oh, I probably would have got that Millencolin Life on a Plate bird with the little X's for eyes.
Yeah, that's a sick tat, like for sure.
That would have been good, yeah. I mean, my favorite band at that time was Lagwagon, so I'm sure I would have done something with them.
I recently was playing, I don't know if you continued it all down a Lagwagon path, but Joey Cape, the singer of Lagwagon, has a side project called Bad Astronaut. and
I remember that. Yeah.
they're like his like thoughtful kind of band. It's like more of a mid-tempo thing.
Yeah.
And they have some like great original songs, but they also have what I think is an honestly incredibly good cover. And I hear this coming out of my mouth right now, and I already regret it, but like a very good cover of Needle in the Hay by Elliott Smith.
I heard that cover. Yes.
Yes. And so I had it, like, I had just like some playlist going in my house. I was like, you know, making dinner with my wife, and that came on, and she was like, legitimately everything stopped. Like the world stopped spinning, and she was like, what the fuck is this? Like she was and she was like, first of all, of course, some fucking pop punk band did this. And of course you, a man that I have been with for a decade, is like put this on in my home. Like it was like it both confirmed, I think, all of her worst fears about me, and then also sort of shocked her still. And I think I'm getting a divorce. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh man, I mean, I would say that I got thoroughly shamed out of this genre of music. And I'm mostly glad I did, just because it led me to like broaden my horizons and actually learn about, you know, a lot of good music that's out there. But I also miss it. And I've got some friends who I would say it's like uniformly men. It's men. It's like men who related to the sweetness in this stuff in a stupid way. Not to say it's all men, of course, but like in my friend group, it was only guys who liked this shit. And sometimes we'll like be driving and someone will put on like an old like Offspring album or like, like NoFX, and we'll just go nuts to like Linoleum. And then like one of my friends, like girlfriends, who's also my friend, she just like, it's not okay. Like it's it's so not okay that it's like she can't even put up with it for the length of Linoleum.
Damn. And it's over so quickly. That's not right.
It's 90 seconds, but it's a, you know, I think for a lot of people with, I would describe it, good taste in music, who never went through this. I mean, whatever, no shame, but like for a lot of people, I think it really is like nails on a chalkboard.
Oh yeah, so like again, I'm married to one of these people. It's weird that it is so much the guys, and it's funny. Like we've had this with even the podcast, is like it's so much easier. This is like a peek behind the curtain a little bit, but like when we're sort of reaching out to guests and stuff, we'll get 5 guys to say yes for every one woman who says yes. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's that we're like creepy and alienating. That's definitely a possibility, but maybe there's something to like this sort of like protracted adolescence that is, again, not exclusively a male trait, but seems to be like a part of the modern male condition in a way that has like much larger, there's much bigger reasons for that I'm like intellectually incapable of unpacking. But it's interesting that's the same thing in your group of friends as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like I would go to Warped Tour and it would seem like it was 50-50 guys and women, but then like in my personal experience, it was so overwhelmingly male.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know like with the listeners, like our listenership is broad, but it's weird. Like people who are really ready to like tap into that kind of potentially poisonous nostalgic vein, they're all dudes somehow.
Right. I see. Yeah. I gotcha.
And then did you also, because I know when I initially started harassing you about this, did you say like you owned the Mark Hoppus bass, or you were learning Blink songs on bass, or like what's your literal musicianship connection to this band?
I think it was the first or the second song I ever learned on the bass guitar was Josie by Blink. Yeah.
Sick. Can you still play? Like, do you ever like,
I haven't touched,
sit around the house and you're like, maybe I'm just going to see if I still got it or whatever.
I've got to. I mean, I moved from BC to Halifax, so the other side of the country for international listeners.
This is good. We never help people out like this. So thank you.
You know, I'm new to the podcasting game myself. I know you got to hold a hand here. And
totally.
there.
Yeah. We call it being seeker sensitive, but that's just because the other guy who does the podcast is insanely Christian.
Oh, fair enough. When I moved, it was like 10 years ago, and I left my bass with a friend fully expecting that I would come back within a year. And then I just never went back to BC and didn't even bother to follow up with my friend. I think he started playing it and then he might've sold it. And I was just like, it's yours. Like there's too much distance. I can't claim it. Squatters' rights.
That's fair. That's very noble of you.
but I would like to get it back and give another shot at that one. The two songs I learned first were that one and, for some reason, Tired of Sex by Weezer.
Yeah, that's got a groovy bass part, though. I can see why you were so attracted to it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And that was my band at the time. I loved all the pop punk, but I couldn't get past Weezer.
Dude, no one can. Weezer is an immovable object, for sure.
They're truly like formidable. It's like Weezer, the first two Weezer albums and the first 10 seasons of The Simpsons are the two things where it's like, no matter what comes after, no matter how much they drag it through the mud, it can't hurt those initial things.
Absolutely. No, they will remain perfect forever. I totally agree. I saw Weezer play at a festival a couple of years ago and was like, I can't believe this band is still putting out music and making me mad for all these various reasons. And I just loved it. I let it wash over me and I was like, these are the greatest songs. Like you can't help it, right?
There isn't a nerdier band in the history of the world. I fucking hate them. And yet, they could start any of the songs from those first two albums and it will bring me to tears. It's crazy.
Yeah, completely.
It's crazy.
So I guess, you don't have a lot of time for bass because you're busy being the Michael Jordan of comedy of baseball. I want to make sure I got that right. Michael Jordan of baseball of comedy.
That's right.
So Cavendish was the thing that sort of led me to harass you. And was the idea there like you wanted to make a show with someone who was on Street Sense?
Yeah. All of my ideas are based on which borderline Canadian celebrity 15 years past his heyday can I hook up with next?
Yeah. So in the interest of being seeker sensitive, this is a show on CBC in Canada for our international listeners. Where is that show for people who want to check it out? Because I've definitely talked about it on this pod and I've talked about it online. I think it's like the funniest thing I've seen this year.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's really, this. It's very fucking good, sir.
I really like it. I fear that we're talking about Cavendish now, not Street Sense.
Yeah, sorry, we've pivoted so people are clear, yeah.
I mean, if you're international, the only chance you have right now is to just get yourself a VPN and watch it on the CBC GEM online site, GEM. You can sneak in and get it there. Otherwise, who knows if it's available on torrents or anything, but it doesn't exist outside of Canada yet.
To me, first of all, I want to say it's worth getting a VPN, and you should have a VPN on your phone anyway, just to protect yourself. And there's all kinds of delightful shit there on GEM. I've gotten very into farm crime. I'm all about GEM now.
Oh yeah, my friend was a producer on that, and when she was telling me about it, yeah, it sounds awesome.
It's somehow it's like one of those things though where I started watching your show and then I was like, what else is on this GEM app? And then you're 2 a.m. watching Farm Crime and you're like, am I too CBC? Am I leaning into this?
You're allowed.
I pay for it, right? I mean, I feel like I'm definitely allowed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go deep. I mean, everyone likes the idea of CBC. It's just the practical thing that trips us up now and then. But I hope Cavendish gets to keep existing because I'm really glad you like it and I'm really proud of it. And I say that as someone who has had qualms with his own work over the years.
So this is the one that's good?
Yeah. I mean, I like Gary and His Demons and I like this, which is just nice to know that I've kind of arrived at a place where maybe my work is starting to line up with my taste a little bit.
That's great.
But I do fear that Cavendish is not a classic works for Canadian audiences type of show. Canadian audiences tend to, or at least the idea of Canadian audiences that, networks operate with tends to be pretty conservative. So I'm just a little bit worried that we've weirded ourselves out of getting to make more of it. But I hope it gets picked up by somewhere in the UK or the States, and then we can just keep doing it and do it.
Yeah, and I will say, again, we sort of dip in too often into esoteric Canadiana on this podcast, but for some reason people in the UK and Australia seem to not only not hate it, but enjoy it in some twisted capacity. So legit the VPN thing and download this app and watch the show. Cause I think if you you guys play in this sort of Canadiana realm, but in a way that I think is very unique and kind of opening, it's open and welcoming to an international viewer. Everyone knows Anne of Green Gables, right?
Yeah. Oh, and that's we wanted to do that. I hate Canadian shows that shy away from being Canadian, but also when I watch UK shows, they'll drop a reference to a politician I've never heard of, but it's if I understand the spirit of the joke. And then there's it's just one joke, and then there's an accessible joke that works internationally right after that and right before that. And I kind of like that. I like that little hints of inside baseball that I might not understand 100%, but it makes it feel like it's coming from a really personal, interesting place. And I didn't want to make a Canadian show that avoided that. I would rather make a Canadian show where it's like, yeah, you might not understand 1 out of every 30 jokes, but it's that, I don't know, that contributes to the spirit of the whole operation, you know?
I think it also helps people feel like they're part of an in-group a bit. Like, if you're like, okay, I don't 100% get that joke, but I'm sort of laughing anyway. Like that feeling you have where you're like, I don't even know if I get why this is funny. Like you have the CFL joke is like, what, like that, like just destroyed me. And I was like, I can't believe someone got a funny CFL joke into a television show.
In fairness, I was told from our editor, he told me an old SCTV CFL joke, which is officially the best CFL joke ever told, which is something along the lines of the CFL, because famously the CFL only has 3 downs instead of 4 downs.
Famously, yeah.
Famously. And the SCTV joke was, actually Canadian football has 4 downs, but everyone's so polite that they punt on down 3. It's a very good joke. I like that one.
That's a pretty good joke for sure. Yeah, I'll give them that. They had, one good joke they had. It is interesting though, like, and I'm sure you think about this and talk about this a lot, like the sort of moment that Canada seems to be having, Canadian television, comedy obviously specifically, on an international scale in a way that clearly happened with things like, SCTV and with Kids in the Hall. But there's sort of been this fallow period, and all of a sudden you have all these Canadian comedy shows that are genuinely funny, which I also think hadn't happened for a long time. Mr. D, which was a show that you were on, which was genuinely hilarious. Now there's shows like Working Moms and Schitt's Creek that have become these big hits on Netflix. This is like a horrible broad question that makes me feel like we're doing a McLean's interview, but like, why do you think that's happening all of a sudden again?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I guess there's just more. Man, that's a hard question to answer because I don't necessarily think we're going through another SCTV or Kids in the Hall period. Like, I feel like the absurdity of those shows isn't really present in the shows that are out now. To a certain extent, it's in Baroness von Sketch. Which largely I feel like gets to keep being made in Canada because it got bought by IFC in the States, which has more of a place for absurd humor. In terms of why like Working Moms and Schitt's Creek and Mr. D are working, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it can be attributed to like a moment. If it can be attributed to like a moment right now, it's probably because of like the proliferation of like streaming services and cable networks. There's a bit of a boom going on right now in that sense, and everyone's buying, and that'll probably at a certain point, thanks to like Disney, stop happening as all of these things get like consolidated. But at least for now, it's like Schitt's Creek it's a co-pro between CBC and then some pretty small network in the States that I can't remember the name of that probably didn't exist 10 years ago.
Right?
Pop, yeah. It sounds new. I don't know if it is
it's new. Definitely no one named a network Pop like in 1977.
Yeah. So there's that. And then, IFC has existed for a while, but like really in the last 10 years with Portlandia and everything after started to like carve out that niche of like absurd stuff. And then obviously like the growth of Netflix, and then like Gary and His Demons, my cartoon, is on this streaming service called Verve in the States, which is growing. And then obviously you got like Amazon and Hulu and all these, like Yahoo, all these other channels. So I think there's just like more room for content and more opportunities for Canadian shows to get sold. So just more opportunities for Canadian shows to keep existing in Canada, because there's going to be some money coming in from somewhere else. That would be like the biggest picture. That
was an excellent answer, taking a look at the economic landscape, and hopefully all of those factors come together and allow you to keep making Cavendish like this show.
I hope so. Canada's got a pretty long history of canceling stuff.
It's true. It's a proud history.
So, like Kids in the Hall was canceled, and it would have stayed canceled if Lorne Michaels hadn't swept in and sold it to the States and made sure it got uncanceled. So Canada, likes to pat itself on the back for being cool, but at every opportunity, it acts pretty uncool.
We are very good at acting uncool. That's like for sure part of our identity.
Yeah.
And now, before I let you go, I would be remiss, like I feel like a grotesque compulsion to mention this, which is that it was only just when I did like a quick kind of like literally 2 seconds before we chatted, because I was like, oh, we'll talk about Cavendish and Blink. Did a quick Google and realized like one of those things that exists in a different part of your brain. I don't think I realized that Picnic Face was responsible for Power Thirst, because Power Thirst was like, for people who don't know, this was like Web 1.0, like one of the first like viral videos. Like when I think of viral videos, I think of Lazy Sunday and Power Thirst.
Yeah, I would slam it at like Web 1.5 or 2.0. It's like post E-bombs world.
Right, yeah.
But like very beginning of YouTube.
Yeah, that's it. Like I remember that being a thing that like the guys that I lived with when I was in college, like the various catchphrases from that ad were like things that people would just say when you were hanging out. Like, do people still, like, I mean, obviously present company excluded, want to talk to you about that or have similar experiences? Like, to me, this is like defines a year of like jokes in college that are actually just repeating other people's jokes.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's my voice you're hearing in Power Thirst. That was my little baby.
What an honor, may I just say.
Thanks, man. Power Thirst was insane. Power Thirst launched my career. It's truly crazy. It's like the only reason that video came into being is because Andrew Bush from Street Sense, who I work with on Cavendish.
I like always calling him from Street Sense. It's good, yeah.
But like when he joined our group, he was the one who got us we were making live sketches in Halifax. He's the one who got us to start making YouTube videos, because he was like, there's this thing coming out, YouTube. We got to get involved with it. And so he knew how to film stuff and edit stuff himself. He taught himself. So he was like that very early stage of like creators doing it for themselves, you know? Mm-hmm. And we were making videos with him, and then he got fed up, and just 1 week, because we were like trying to make a video every week to show at our live show, and then 1 week he just got fed up and was like, I'm not doing it this week. You guys put too much on my plate. So then me and Scott Vroman, who now works on that Hassan Minaj show.
Yeah.
We were just like, all right, we had this idea. And then, so we're just like, let's make this Power Thirst video the only way we know how, which is just like, let's teach ourselves how to use Final Cut Pro and just like copy and paste images from like, Google image search, and then some photos of ourselves or whatever, if we need them. So and then like we recorded it through, like, we didn't have a microphone, so we used like an earphone that kind of had like recording capabilities, like early like earphones. I don't know what it was. We had a terrible audio software that made things sound like crackly, but that kind of contributed to like the energy of that video.
Yeah, it's the aesthetic.
Anyway, it was a real accident, and then we just immediately started getting calls from like networks, and I got to go to like an early internet con, RaffleCon.
Oh,
to talk about, like, because like Power Thirst had started inspiring like real ads, one of which I was a part of. It was all fucked. It was so weird and cool. And then that got us our sketch show, and then blah, blah, blah. But yeah, still to this day, when people find out that I worked on that, it's definitely like a trip down memory lane for 30-something guys.
Yeah, right? Like, I watched it, again, I was like, first of all, it's still funny. Second of all, it's one of those things you're like, I could recite that thing from memory, because it was me and some other 30-something guys living together, going to Ryerson, whatever, 12 years ago.
Yeah. My friend teaches in Halifax, and he said some kid on the playground just started reciting Power Thirst, and my friend went up to him and he was like, "You're doing Power Thirst. Those are my friends. My friends made that." And this kid was like, "Nobody made it. It's a meme." So I'm not going to pretend that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
that did hurt me good.
Well, I'm grateful that Power Thirst has led you to be on a Blink 182 podcast, I guess the true pinnacle of your career now, if you measure sort of where it took you.
Oh my God, my lip ring scar is burning. This is where it was all meant to lead. Awesome.
Mark, so besides, we talked about Cavendish, Gary and His Demons, people can stream that outside of Canada. Is there anything else that is sort of important to promote here at, the tail end of a lengthy podcast, which is like the least, kind thing you could ever do to someone?
Get you a VPN, go watch Cavendish on CBC Gem, watch Gary and His Demons, which somehow is playing around the world.
Hell yeah.
It is so widespread, but it's playing on Verve in the States, and I think Comedy Central UK. It's in Russia. I don't know. But you can find it if you Google it and see if it's available in your territory. And then if you want to just descend into my insanity and my id, that podcast, My Gorgeous Son, it's a podcast where I play Andy Bush's dad, forcing him to do a podcast to improve his life. There's so many Street Sense references.
Yes.
And it's a wild ride.
Awesome. Mark, thank you so much, man.
Thank you for having me.